And what I do mean show, I do mean show, guys. This is a an opportunity of a lifetime. A lot of you guys are in the business, but you don't know exactly where you are in history right now. We are about to make history, and you actually can be a part of it, or you can just be around it. You get to choose. All right. And so make sure today you choose to be present. Okay. Make sure today that you understand that today is for you, not for anybody else. So if anybody's calling you, send them the voicemail, right? Send them a text message. I'm busy, right? Don't let anybody steal this moment from you today. This is your day, okay? And so today, guys, you guys get a chance to listen to a person who is world renowned as one of the best trainers out there. And when I say best, it's because he not just knows how to make money, hadn't just made a lot of money for himself in the industry of trading, but he's taught a lot of other people how to make money and in a way that they love it and they love him for it. Right. The person who I'm about to introduce you guys to is a U.S. military veteran. When I say veteran, I'm talking about U.S. Marine Corps combat veteran. Okay, and so salute him for that, guys. Give him some fire for that right there alone. Okay, so now he's gone from fighting for his country to fighting for you, right? It's very, very important. This is a man. When I say I really appreciate his accolades, because this man's accolades reads like somebody who's running for an election of some sort. But a seven-figure quants trader, master Forex educator, trading since 2008, right? And he's been teaching since 2015. He's a creator of the E3 strategy that's used all around the world in many, many countries and in many, many companies. And so when you use his name, people say, "Oh, that's who you're learning from." I've been learning from him, or I follow him. I'm talking to a guy last night in Australia and New Zealand rather, and he said, "Oh yeah, I follow him. I take his trades." When I posted his banner with us side by side, right? I had a young lady hit me up in my DM, said, "Hey, is this true? Is he joining you? You guys about to partner up and do some things together?" Because she's already here in the company. I said, "Yeah, it's true." She said, "Well, you know what? During COVID, I was a part of a trading team that he was coaching on, and I was able to take $200 and turn that $200 into a brand new car." Right. And she bought a brand new car using his strategies. Right. And so, again, his strategies work. Right. But he's also a master black belt in Six Sigma. Right. And when you look at, some of the reasons why my wife really have embraced him, because my wife don't like everybody. She loves me, likes a lot of you guys, but she don't like everybody, right? But she really likes Donnie. She likes his spirit. She likes how he teaches and trains. But some of the things that she said she liked about him was, you know, he has his resume of people. It's not just the past; it's current, right? When you sees on his calls and his private calls, uh, everybody on those calls are winning, whether they're winning on a small amount or a large amount. They're all winning based on the strategies that he's providing. So he's teaching the way he teaches, right? When you're a novice or someone who's getting started, they really get it. They receive it. They embrace it, and they don't feel threatened by it, right? And so, see, these are just some of the things that that she, the trader in my house, has fallen in love with. But guys, what I want to do is, I want to, get out of the way, and I want to, bring a guy to the stage that, over, when I say a short, very, very short period of time, I've actually grown, to respect what he's done, his resume, and what he brings to the table. So what I'm going to do right now is I want to introduce and to most of you guys and reintroduce to the masses, none other than Mr. Donnie Pips. And so Donnie, if you, I know you're on the line. I know you've been preparing. Yeah.
Oh man, if you're fired up for this boot camp, give me some fire emojis. Yeah, where's everybody at? Hey, where the fire emojis at? Now, come on, wake up. Let's go.
C-130 rolling down the street.
U.S. Marines gonna take a little trail.
U.S. Marines gonna take a little trail.
Mission top secret destination unknown.
Mission top secret destination unknown.
God only knows where we're coming home.
God only knows where.
Oh man, and we know where the mission is at right now, guys. It is here, it is here, it is here on the build line, guys. What is up? Mr. Sam Bean, Mrs. Kim Bean, thank you guys so much. Let's get it going, sir. How you doing today?
I'm fantastic, bro. I'm fired up, ready to rock and roll, ready to learn.
Oh man, I love it. Guys, if you are ready to learn, you're ready to rock and roll, let me know in the chat. You got your pens and pads today. Guys, it's gonna be a big one. Before I get started, Mr. Beam, Miss Beam, do y'all have any questions for me before I get it kicked off? Because we're gonna get it running.
Yeah, one thing I always want to ask a person, and this is the one question I want to ask, is why build? Because after once stay here, why build? That's it for me.
Why Bill? Well, that's simple. Bill took a concept and said, let's make it about the people. Okay. And just as the word state build, let's build something that everybody can utilize, that everybody needs in a day-to-day life when it comes to personal finance, when it comes to everyday life. And that's why Bill decided to take a concept, an old ancient concept, and mold it into the future and said it's going to be now about the people and not about the PQV, the CQV. It's about what we are doing in the foundation. When it comes to the foundation, you've got Mr. Navarro, you've got Mr. and Mrs. Bean. I mean, that foundation alone told me that this was the right decision.
Awesome, awesome. Well, Mrs. Bean, if you don't have anything, if you have anything for him, question wise, go ahead and step to the plate. If not, we'll go ahead and yield the platform to Mr. Pips.
Johnny, I don't have any questions for you. I just got one statement. Just make sure you give it to him today.
That is it, guys. Who's fired up? Who is fired up? Oh man, where can I get that military mix from? we bring it, guys. And today in this 2-day boot camp, you're gonna learn a lot. You're gonna learn the basics about the foundation. And a lot of people always talk about the foundation of life, right? The foundation of your life. And that's one of the things that I take that makes me different from those other so-called gurus out there, right? You see those internet flashy guys with the flashy cars and the pinups and things like that. Well, that's not Donnie Pips. Donnie Pips is going to talk to you about the foundation of trading, the foundation of why everybody should be trading the financial markets, right? And when I discovered the skill set to trade, I haven't had to be able to punch a time clock in years, right? I think the last time I punched a clock, I believe I was about 32, right? So when it comes to teaching people about trading, and all they know is they know about the movies, they know about Hollywood part of trading, right? They know about the Wolves of Wall Streets and the different types of movies and things like that. And Hollywood has taken the financial market and made it really scary, right? How many people have seen trading movies and were like, man, I can't do that. And they're mentioning big words and things like that, and they're making it seem like you need to have a high level of skills to trade the financial markets. No, you don't. Let me tell you something. 90% of those guys on Wall Street most likely don't have a degree. They have some type of certificate or something like that, right? And when it comes to that, I tell people, this is a skill set that I'm going to teach you, and I'm going to teach you the basics of it that nobody's never, ever going to take away from you, to where Donnie Pips is going to make it as so simple that you're going to be able to go and teach a fifth grader. Right, everybody knows Baby Pips. And for those who know Baby Pips, my son took pretty much $500 and he turned it into over $5,000. And then the other day, I was on the phone with Mr. Bean, and he sends me just a simple text message up, right, and he's up $900 and about $28, and he says it to Mr. Bean just all nonchalant. I made $900, right? So how many people on here right now says, you know what, I could use an extra $50. I can use an extra $900. I can use an extra $1,000 without taking out a second job, without taking out a loan, right? So for those who are taking notes with me today, and again, I speak fast right now because this is a boot camp, so I'm going to make sure you guys are standing at attention and you understand me, and I keep you engaged, right? Because this is a boot camp. Right? It's the purpose is to mold you, to build you. That way you get the foundation of becoming a successful trader. One thing I'm not going to do is make these income claims, because I don't like those gurus who show you a lot of thousands of dollar trades and stuff like that. But it's like, why me? Okay. So we're not going to do that here. So we're going to go into some basics, and we're going to talk about a lot of information today, and information that you're going to be able to take away from this call and say, you know what, I'm ready to take the next step. I'm ready to take this building block of foundation and start building my success. Okay. So the first thing I want you guys to write down right now as we get started is make it personal. Make it personal. Trading is meant to be personal. Okay. If you're trading because Joe told you to come check this out, and you just think, you know what, it's just, I seen it in the movies, you know, log off and go enjoy your Saturday. But if you're here to say, you know what, I want an opportunity to make it personal, you're in the right spot. Okay. And that's what we're going to go over today as you guys keep, you know, plugging in and coming on board. You know, thank you guys so much. Real quick, one of the best quotes I've ever seen: investment in knowledge pays the best interest. Benjamin Franklin, right? One of our founding forefathers has said, investment in knowledge pays the best interest. And a lot of times people say, well, why did you bring your talents to South Beach? Everybody knows I live in Miami, but why did you bring your talents to Build? Because Build is built off the foundation of knowledge. The more knowledge the individual has, the more they can prosper. How many people like that, right? And we're going to talk about trading, okay, as we talk about making it personal. And just a little backstory, one of my favorite stories about trading, which really intrigued me the first time I stepped into economics and I heard this story, you know, and it was about the stock market crash. Everybody knows about 1929 and the stock market crash, whether it was, you know, purposely done or it just happened. But one of the best stories I ever heard about, you know, the 1929 U.S. stock market crash, which is pretty much the worst crash in American history, right? Even COVID kind of crashed the market, but not as bad as 1929. Now, many people had lost a lot of money. And I'm talking about millionaires went from millionaires to living on the streets that day, right? Over that span of time. And wealthy people were going broke. But one guy named Joseph Kennedy did not. And a lot of people are going to hear his name a lot throughout history. He sold everything he owned, right? The day before the crash, right? And we started thinking, oh, he had insider trading. Well, legend states that he made this decision shortly after a shoe shine boy tried to give him stock advice. Imagine you being on a bus coming home from work one day and you sitting there and a guy asking you for $2 is giving you advice on the market. So he's going to make you rich. Right? So if a shoe shine boy is shining my shoes, giving me stock advice, right? Something that was only available to the rich and powerful. So we all know that even in today's society, the stock market is meant for who? Right? The rich. But we're going to talk about those other markets, the rich. Right? And if this kid could give me that advice, something must have gone seriously wrong, right? And we talk about that. And the stock market back then was only for those. But now, a guy in the street gave me advice, so he sold everything, and the market crashes. Right? Some people know Joseph Kennedy is changing his name to somebody called Rothschild. Rockefellers, right? Inner circles, right? We talk about those people, and you're going to hear about those people a lot in the future, right? So I always tell people that story because now today, the market is at our fingertips. Today, we can pick up our smartphone, right? And we can place a trade, and we are now in the market. Can everybody see me okay? Perfect.
Yes,
All
we
right,
can.
we're now in the market. We now have the ability at our fingertips to say, I'm going to push a button, make $200 and call it a day. Now we have the ability in the 21st, second, third, fourth, whatever century you want to say we're in today, to print money. And that's what the foundation is about. The foundation of Build and trading is going to be about being able to understand printing money. Right? So we're going to start off real simple today. We're going to start off with an introduction to the Forex market, right? We're going to understand what makes the market tick and how we make money. How many people here to learn how to make money? Give me an emoji in the chat. How many people in here right now said, I'm here to make money? I don't want to know nothing about else. I want to know how to make money, right? But we're also going to learn about those technicals, those fundamentals, those relational analysis basics that's going to literally help us say this is really simple. I don't want nobody to go after Mr. Bean or anybody after this call and say, how come you didn't introduce this to me sooner? Okay, it's not their fault. Okay, it's society's fault. You're not to know. And today we're going to let you know about what you're not supposed to know. De Niro, I like that, right? Right. We're going to talk about grasping the fundamentals of the foreign exchange market. With that being said, how's it operate? How do I make money? How do I understand what a pit movement is, right? What a lot is, right? Leverage and margin. These are things that made people scared of the financial markets because of Hollywood, okay? So right now, I want you guys to know we're boycotting Hollywood for the next 2 days, okay? For the next 2 days, okay? And then we're going to be able to understand, once we're done with today's class, we're going to understand, it's going to give us a comprehensive framework of price movement, right? We see these charts and we're like, man, I don't know what he's looking at, but we're going to be able to analyze that. We're going to be able to talk about economic drivers, what moves the market, and how we're able to make a profit off of the president of the United States sending out a tweet, right? How many people on here like that right now would love a tweet to make them money? Right? I don't want to do anything if it's not making me money. And by understanding price behavior, that way, when something happens on the news, you're going to say, oh my God, the dollar's going to drop. And that's what today is going to be about. We're going to get into the hard hitting stuff tomorrow, right? We're going to get into all that mindset psychology tomorrow. You know, and somebody just, I've seen that in the chat and said, hey, I'm really struggling with my psychology. We're going to get into that tomorrow. Now, again, the slides are just here as something to look at. So I'm not going to read word for word off my slides because I'm very entertaining as it is, okay? The slides are there for you to look at, write down, and people always talk about, you know, hey, I'm deaf by PowerPoint. That's one thing Donnie doesn't do, is a deaf by PowerPoint. So first we're going to start off, what is the Forex market or foreign exchange market? It's the world's largest decentralized market. Now, what sets Forex apart from other markets? Well, somebody said, well, Donnie, I didn't know there was another market besides the stock market. There's tons of markets, right? There's the stock market where we give our money to somebody in hopes that they're going to do good and make us pennies on the dollar. That's the slow money, right? That's the money that the governments want you to invest in. They want you to invest in the rich people in hopes that the rich people do good, or should I say that the little people buy into the notion that they're going to do good for you to make 10 cents. That's the stock market. That's the market that we're told to push you to. We're told to give you a portfolio, and we're told to talk about Tesla and Nvidia, and we're told to talk about these companies, and we're told to tell you to take your $10,000 and invest in what Tesla's got going on for the future, and then on that $10,000, we're going to make you $200. So you're telling me if I gave you $10,000, I'm only going to make $200 to $600 on that $10,000. But here's the catch. You can't move your money for a year. How many people would do that? I came to you right now and said, PipU LLC is promoting for its new product. I want to get you give me $10,000. It's the product of the future. And in 1 year, I'm going to give you $600 back. How many people would do that? Give me a 1 in the chat if that's you. Give me a 2 if it's like, hell no, I'm not doing that. Give me a 2 in the chat. Well, you know y'all do that anyway. Y'all know y'all do that anyway. It's called banking. One of the biggest scams in the world. It's called the banking system. It's called the certificate of deposit. hey, if you give me $10,000 for 1 year, I'll give you $200 back. I'll give you $100 back. It's called banking. You just lost that $10,000. And guess what the bank just did? The bank took that $10,000 and they now invested your money in the Forex market. They traded your money and then said, for you allowing us to use your money, we're going to give you back $200. But they just made $1 million off your money. Okay? They take your money and they trade it hand over fist. And you're looking at your bank account thinking you've got $10,000 secured. I got another thing coming for you. Stand up. So now, when it comes to the Forex market, something that's been around since Alexander the Great, the currency market, not to be confused with cryptocurrency. $7.5 trillion a day. Nobody controls it. That's why it means decentralized. People can control the stock market, right? One tweet from Elon can drop a stock. One tweet from a bad investor can drop a stock. Somebody can control it. But in Forex, nobody controls the movement. And somebody says, well, how do I make money in the foreign exchange market? What's foreign about it? Nuh-uh. I want you guys to take the word foreign out of it, the word Forex out of it, and I want you guys to just simply think of it like this. The dollar market, the money market, right? We always hear about money mutuals and all this thing, the money market. And all it simply is stating that I can take my money that's worth so much in one country, go to another country, and now that money can grow and may grow based off of how bad that country's doing. Now, if I see on my screen here, let's say I get on a plane and I go to Japan, which I lived in Japan. I loved Japan. And I take a dollar, and my dollar is worth 140 yen, right? That means I just gained 40 cents on my dollar. You are now participating in the foreign exchange. Okay? So $1, I made a trip. I go to Japan. Now my dollar's worth 40 cents. I still have a whole dollar. I just gained 40 cents. Now, let's say that in the time that I'm there and that dollar rose to 157. And I come back, I now have more money than I started with on that dollar. How's that sound? So now imagine you today taking a dollar, just a dollar, sending it out into the foreign exchange market without you traveling across the world, and you making $2 on that $1, so $3 came back. How's that sound? How would you like that? And that's the foreign exchange in a nutshell, right? So what are some of the advantages of saying, Donnie, that sounds great, right? You're going to trade money. We're going to trade one currency for another, right? Well, let me tell you something about the Forex market. It's not your grandpa's stock market. We're not giving money to anybody. You're going to keep your own money and you're going to trade your money. And we're going to talk about why that's so powerful. And let's just talk about a few of our favorite things when it comes to trading the Forex market. Consistency. We always talk about this word consistency, right? We always get yelled at by our spouses or significant others. I need more consistency from you, right? We like consistency in our life, right? We like the routine, the normal. Well, with the Forex market, there's more consistency means more profits. If the market is more consistent, how many people can look at something and say, oh, I need to jump every time Mario comes to a Goomba, right? When Mario's moving forward and then we get that Goomba, right? What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to just push A, right? Simple. If the market was that simple, how many people on here right now would say I could do that? Well, that's the Forex market, right? Another thing is there's no gapping. What does gapping mean? Gapping means that right now, if I'm trading a stock and I put my money in a stock right now and it's worth $250, but then all of a sudden the market closes, and we all know the market closes at 4:30, 5 o'clock, right? The market closes, and I got $250. I invested. I'm feeling good, right? I'm feeling good, and see this money in there. And then all of a sudden, here we go. The CEO of company A makes a crazy tweet. Now, all of a sudden, that price has started to drop, right, of that stock. Remember, you had $250 invested, so you were riding high. But now that stock has decided to drop. But guess what? You can't take your money out. You can't gain any value from that 250 because it's locked in because the market is closed. Oh my God. Hey, open up the door. Open up the door. I gotta get my money out. I know it's coming tomorrow. I know it's coming tomorrow. But guess what? You can't get it out. Nobody's there. So now you take a look at the reports, and the report says that stock is only now worth $75 when the market opens tomorrow. There was nothing you could do about losing all that money. Right? Well, in Forex, you now have the ability to set trades and forget. A lot of people always talk about that, set and forget, right? In Forex, you can set the trade that you want to take and forget about it without worrying of there being major gapping like the stock market. Now, in any market, you might have an influx of money, right? So that might cause the market to skip, but there's not going to be any major gapping. We're going to talk about that down the road, okay? One of the biggest factors about the Forex market is it's 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. The currency side of the foreign exchange market, and again, currency side, because there's other sides of the Forex market, the currency side of the Forex market is open from Sunday to Friday, right? And then you have the cryptocurrency side that's open 24/7. Therefore, the Forex market is now open 7 days a week, 5.5 days if you just want to trade the currency side. And when I talk about the currency side, we're going to get into why that's so important, because we're going to be trading one money versus another money, like that example I gave you of the dollar and the yen. Okay? So now, no news is really going to affect it the night before. If news is going to have an effect on the market, I can take advantage of it and trade that information. Write that down. Trade the information. Trade the information. We're going to be learning how to trade the information. I love that. Money never sleeps. Yes, we're going to be trading the information. Stock market, you can't trade the information. You don't have enough money to do so. No manipulation, right? Nobody controls the price in the foreign exchange market. It's so big that not one single entity can move price. Stocks, on the other hand, can be manipulated. Pump and dump schemes. How many people have heard of those? Pump and dumps happen every day in the financial market, right? Especially in stocks. Well, not in Forex. You're never going to see a pump and dump manipulation in the market. Okay, there's going to be factors that move the market, but never, ever manipulation in the Forex market. This is our why. Why should I give up trading my grandpa's stock market for the currency market, for the Forex market? Low transaction cost. Do you know that Forex has some of the lowest transaction costs in the financial market today? Well, a lot of people don't know in 2015, laws made it cheaper to get into the Forex market via brokers. Okay, and we're going to talk about that. Imagine you entering a trade for 10 cents, but then on a stock, it's going to cost you $15. So by the time you get into a trade in the stock market, it might have cost you $1,500. Listen, I ain't got $1,500 to just give you for just getting in the market. But how many people are okay giving up 10 cents on the possibility of making $100? Remember, we're going to keep it realistic, right? We're going to make it personal. Okay? I'll give up 10 cents. The next is leverage. One of the best things about the Forex market is that they give the most leverage any market has to offer. A lot of people don't know, but the stock market options, they give you leverage. A lot of people just don't know that, right? Leverage in Forex offers the highest because currency, how much is a penny worth? How much is a penny worth? 1 cent. Right? Just like there, 1 cent, a penny is worth 1 cent. So therefore, to make sure you're able to make money, right, the brokers are going to give you thousands of dollars to trade with. How many people like that? How many people like the fact of trading other people's money? Right? I think I was watching a call the other day, and Sam was talking. I go back and I like to watch the old videos, and he said OPM, other people's money. That's the Forex market. You're now able to trade other people's money. How many people like that? OPM. So we're going to talk about OPM when trading the Forex market. Well, Donnie, I don't need $100,000 to trade the Forex market. No, you need $100. The leverage that's provided to you is going to allow you on that $100 to trade thousands of dollars. So remember, leverage is going to allow you to trade thousands of dollars. So we're going to talk a lot about OPM, other people's money. Okay, and I'm all for it. All right. High liquidity. Remember, we talked about this before. The market a lot of times doesn't move because the opportunity in stocks means somebody has to be willing to buy and sell. There has to be an equivalent exchange of opportunity in the market. With the Forex market, there's so many participants. There's enough liquidity for everybody, right? There's always an opportunity for someone that's going to be willing to sell and somebody that's going to be willing to buy at your price. How's that sound? A lot of people talk about that, right? I got my Marine Corps mug, my coffee. A lot of people talk about that. How many people having a yard sale this weekend and you need somebody to buy your stuff? You don't have the liquidity. You don't have what people are looking for. Well, in the Forex market, there's high liquidity because there's always going to be participants willing to buy and sell. Well, that's how simple the Forex market is. We've got high liquidity, low transaction fees, leverage. The broker's going to give us money to trade with. There's no manipulation. There's no gapping. And it's consistent. How many people just like those facts right there when it comes to the Forex market? Cancel the jewelry yard sale. You see? Perfect. Okay. You know, what time period can we trade? Donnie, I'm so busy. I can't trade. How many people introduce them to a business and all they hear is, I'm busy. I don't have time to trade. Well, guess what? Time stops for no man. What time would you like to get back? And that's a serious question. Put it in the chat. Put it in the chat. Get personal. I told you this is personal. What time would you like to get back if you had the opportunity? All of it. Exactly. More time with my kids. Right? All of it. We're great participants of the rat race. Retirement. We're great participants of the rat race, but we're bad at time management when it comes to personal time because we don't have any time. You go to work for a 9-to-5 job. You come home. If you have kids, you might have an hour to yourself, and that's the drive home. Now you've got to pick the kids up, do what you got to do for them, get the house together, make dinner because you got to feed them. They're your responsibility. And then you got to get some sleep and get up again tomorrow and do it again. Well, the Forex market, like I said, has a session for everybody. So there's always going to be time to trade the Forex market. If you have 30 minutes at home to yourself, you have 30 minutes to make $200. You have 30 minutes to make $5. How many people right now walking to the gas station seeing a $10 bill on the floor would pick it up? Give me a 1 in the chat. Give me a 2 in the chat if you would leave it there for somebody else. I got 208 people on here. I see $10 on the ground. That's a God's blessing. How many people say thank you, Jesus, right? Or thank you, God, for those who are religious and those who have their different types of religion, right? They always say thank you to the higher being, right? Well, the Forex market is another form of thank you to that higher father. You make $10 while you're sitting there enjoying your me time. So the market is open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, no excuses. This is boot camp, no excuses. You came here, you put your foot on the yellow footprints, you signed up to be a United States Marine. Guess what? You're going to do it. You signed up to join the United States Navy or the Royal Navy, right? You signed up, you're going to do it. Now, the only thing that's affected the Forex market is going to be local time, right? Your holidays. Markets are closed during major holidays, okay? And daylight savings time, depending on where you're located, is going to have an effect on the market. So again, there's 4 major market sessions. You have the London, New York, and Sydney or Asian session. The New York session, of course, everybody knows Wall Street opens up, is the busiest. Then you have that London, New York crossover, as you see on my screen here, is going to be the busiest. You're going to have a lot of liquidity because now you have a lot of participants. Okay. Shoot, I'll take $1,000. What can you trade in Forex? Well, Forex, as I mentioned before, and I'm going to just briefly touch on this, what can be traded? We trade in what's called a pip, and we're going to go over that in a minute. But when we're talking about the high volume on it, just looking at these numbers, you say, well, Donnie, I don't understand any of these numbers. Well, what if I told you in the first one, Euro to USD, where it says Tokyo, and it says 75? What if I told you for each number to 75, from 1 to 75, was worth $100? How many people's ears just sat up? From 1 to 75 was worth $100. From 1 to 75 was worth $50. And then for those who have a little bit more money, 1 to 75 was worth $500. That's not the whole 75. That's each number. So 1, $100, 2, another $100, 3, another $100, 4, another $100. So y'all see where I'm going with that? Y'all see where I'm going with that? Those numbers right there on your screen are realistic numbers. Those are everyday numbers. And then you get into that London, New York crossover, and now those numbers have gone up to 116. So now you've gotten a little bit more confidence. So now for each number that goes up, you're now at $200 and then $400. And now you're looking at your average a day. And remember, I said we're going to make it personal. You've now passed what you make an hour working. Those numbers are the pip counts, the average pip count. And we're going to talk about what a pip is in here in a moment. But those are the numbers of the average pip count of the session. We have 5 markets, so there's something for everybody. Busiest times, of course, are going to be the overlapping markets and when the market opens and overlaps. Now, of course, everybody knows we're kind of asleep during the Asian market, so it kind of has the slowest market, okay? But 85% of the pairs are usually released during the New York session, okay? 30% of all Forex traders' transactions take place during the London session, okay? Understanding those pairs, as you guys seen in the last slide, I had some names up here. Forex, foreign exchange market, and we talked about that briefly. Think of the currency market as your battlefield, and you are the United States, or you are the country you live in. How well is your country doing versus another country? Those are Forex pairs, okay? A foreign exchange pair is the euro versus the dollar. How well is the European Union doing today versus the United States? And if you think that today my European Union is doing better than the US dollar, I'm going to buy the market. If I think that the United States is doing better than the European Union, right, or the euro, I'm going to sell. I don't think my country is doing great today based off the information. Remember I said trade the information? The information that came out, I don't think we're doing good. So therefore, I'm going to sell. That's how simple it is. That's how simple it is. Trading the financial market, the Forex market in particular, is nothing more than you saying today, this country is doing better than that country. Does that sound simple to everybody? Did I just literally give you a whole lot of fluff into one sentence, right? We kind of make it sound real important. Well, guess what? We're big on simplicity here. The Forex market is nothing more than you thinking that one country is going to do better than the other country today. How many people can trade that? How many people can trade that? Awesome. Well, let's understand those currency pairs. What is traded in Forex? Now, as you guys see here, I got some numbers on the screen, 1 through 6, and we're going to talk about those. Buying a Forex pair is like buying a share to a company, right? It's like buying you're going to invest, not buy, you're buying a share into that company, right? Think of a currency as a buy, a share in a particular country, right? I'm going to buy the US, right? And the prices normally moves in the direction or reflection of the market's opinion. What is the opinion of the world on that current market? And that's going to tell us how the market's going to move. How healthy is our economy? That's Forex. Yep, got to keep it simple for crayon eaters. Don't worry, somebody banned Colt. That's just another Marine right there. Okay? That's what Forex is. It's nothing more than the price of a currency, usually a direction of reflection of the market's opinion of the future health of that country. That's it. That's Forex. How many people can understand that? Yep, currency is a share of a country. That's it. 2, as you guys can see, I have an example up here, USDJPY. When you buy the yen, you're basically buying a share of the Japanese economy, and you're betting that that economy is doing well. And it's as time goes by, once you sell it, you now make a profit off of selling that economy doing good. How simple is that? I keep asking you guys that. I noticed somebody said, wow, this is the first time I haven't been lost. Exactly. We're going to kiss. We're going to keep it simple, stupid. And I'm one of the ones. I'm a Marine. Okay? Now, let's talk about reflection, right? The reflection of the market. And as you see here, in a general exchange rate of a currency, how many people have been to the airport and they've seen that exchange rate? Because that's where they're mostly at. They see the exchange rate sign, or in a mall. If you're in a big city, you see them in the mall as well. How many people see that currency sign and it has an exchange rate? That's the Forex market. I love seeing that. Every time my kids see that, they're excited to see it. Well, Mr. Johnson, you going up to that board and saying, well, man, I know that today something is going to happen in the United States, so I'm going to bet against the dollar. And just by looking at that board, you were able to make money because it was one country versus another country. And the reflection of that condition of that country's economy versus another economy. That's it. Guys, don't make it complicated. You don't have to know the X's and O's of watching football. How many people don't need to know the play the coach is going to call while watching the Green Bay Packers lose to the Pittsburgh Steelers, knowing that Jerome Bettis is about to run up the middle? And yes, I know the Green Bay Packers beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the Super Bowl. Don't worry, my mom reminds me all the time. Okay? Right? You don't need to know the play to know they're running a run play, right? You don't need to know it. That's the power of the financial market. The power of 3. the power. I keep forgetting that Mr. Bean is a Green Bay fan. All right, but I hear from my mom, and she's got a jersey on tomorrow. Okay. Currency symbols always have 3 letters. Okay. 3 letters. And the first 2 letters identify the country. So anybody see a currency pair and they're like, hey, what does that mean? Well, there's 3 letters. The first 2 letters represents that country. US, United States. And then the last letter is going to represent the name of that currency. How many people knew that? US dollar. So when you see USD, that's not, that's the US dollar. So the last letter is going to be the name of that currency. Well, Donnie, how am I supposed to remember all that? Real easy, real simple. You're only going to remember 6 of them. Then there's types of pairs. There's what we call the majors. The majors are going to be the big 6, the big dogs of the world. How many people know who the big 6 countries are around the world? Right? And I always say the big 6, right? But major pairs are what you're going to be trading. Most widely traded pairs in the world are the majors. And these pairs are connected to the US dollar, and they're the most liquid. So pretty much if they're connected to a dollar, they may just be a major pair. And not just connected, it has to be one major country to the US dollar. And then we're going to talk about crosses, right? These are kind of those countries, and I'm not knocking any countries again. I live in the United States, so I kind of talk about the United States. I love all countries. All right, then you have the crosses. The crosses don't contain the US dollar, but they contain the majors, the other big 6, right? But they exclude the US dollar. Okay, so we call them the cross pairs, right? You'll have the euro and the pound and the yen all matched up, but they don't include the US dollar. The crosses. Wow, that's new info. Yep. And then you have your exotics. Okay, listen to me now. Listen to me now, especially for my single men and single ladies. Just because they look good don't mean you need to go and talk to them. Okay? Just because they look good don't mean you need to go talk to them. You stay as far away from crosses pairs as possible, okay? That's my one relationship advice I'm going to give. Stay away from exotics, okay? They're made up of one of the major currencies, right? That's connected to an emerging country such as Mexico, all right? The South African, I think it's the franc or a dinar or whatever, and then Denmark. Stay away from them. I know we've all dated one, okay? We've all went on a date with one. I'm telling you now, stay away from that beautiful green-eyed, blonde-haired dude, okay? If you're on there looking like that, hats off to you, but in Forex, we want to stay away from those exotics, okay? Perfect. All right, awesome. All right, and then understanding the pairs. These are those majors I was talking about, right? These are the major countries and the pairs that's going to make us the most money. Why are majors so popular? Because, again, imagine every time that one number moves from 1 to 75, imagine you having the ability to make $10 every time it moves. And let's say it just moves to 20. How much money did you make if each one is worth $10? That's why we're going to stick to the majors, okay? And 2, the information coming out of these countries are a lot more stable. You have pairs like the US dollar versus the Japanese yen. And as you guys can see there, I'm not going to read off all the nicknames, but you see where some of these nicknames came from. They came from the Forex world. They came from the financial institution. So when somebody says the loonie or the Aussie dollar, they know it came from Forex. Okay. You have the United States CAD, which is known as USD CAD. Again, you're going to see 6 letters. Then you have your Euro to USD, which is your Eurozone to United States. Then you have your GBP, which is Great Britain Pound, which is the United Kingdom. Do you know I talked to somebody the other day who works in finance and didn't know there was a difference between the euro and the GDP? So when they said I was going to UK, I said, "Oh, okay, you're gonna go get the pound," and they're like, "No, it's euro," and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Right? A lot of people don't know there's a difference in currency. but most of them always just call all of that Europe anyway, right? But there's a difference. Then you have the USD Switzerland, which is known as the USD Chief, okay? Chief broke the rule. Exactly, John. Chief broke the rule, but does anybody know why Switzerland is on here? Other than John, does anybody know right now why Switzerland is on the big six? When we think of those big countries, do we really talk about Switzerland? Right, those powerhouses of the world. Does anybody know why Switzerland is considered a big six? Okay, then you have the Australian US dollar. Okay, New Zealand. Give me a second. Mr. Bing, pick one of those. Pick one of those banking questions.
Yeah, I think they're still trying to figure out why Switzerland is still one of the big six. Let's see here.
Nice. Geneva, we got some great answers. All right. I got John. John's got the most right answers on here, John. John, where you from? John, where you from? No, Africa has too many of its own currencies. Okay. John, where you from? He's got he's got the majority of the answers. I see him on there. Colombia, John, send me a message. All right. I've got a nano ledger for you. All right. I got a nano ledger for you. No problem. All right. Got a nano ledger for you. Okay. Great job. Okay. Then you have your euro crosses and then your yen crosses. So again, these are just kind of your crosses pairs. They're connected to one or the other big sixes. Okay. So kind of not connected to the dollar, but of course, the euro is a big six. The yen is a big six because they're closest to the US. Okay. All right. And then those exotics. Remember, I told you guys to stay away from those exotics. Somebody mentioned Africa. If you see something like USD Hong Kong, you're going to stay as far away from that as possible. Okay. USD Singapore, you're going to see the United States, South Africa, right? The dollar rand. That was the first time when I got into Forex that I heard that. So kind of stay away from these. And here's why. The transaction fees are higher than what you're going to make in trading. So you getting in that trade on these exotic pairs may cost you $100 to make $10. All right, I'm going to the extreme because I want to scare you away. The stove is on. Touch it if you want. Okay, kind of stay away from it. Okay. Yes, Denmark is connected to a lot of euros. Exactly. Yes, but when it comes to this one, you kind of want to stay away from it. That's the only one I kind of look at, but that fee is very high. Now, we were talking about a pip. How do we make money? Who's ready for the good stuff? Everybody put money in the chat. How do we make money? All right, how do we make money on here? Good. Money, 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 money. Perfect. The meaning of a pip or a point. We get paid if the market moves 5 points. In other industries, if the market moves $3, you might make 20 cents, depending on how much a share you have. Well, in Forex, we get paid in what's called pips, right? I.e. Donnie pips, okay? A pip stands for percentage in point in percentage, however you want to say it. It's nothing more than a percentage of a penny. Okay? So a pip stands for point in percentage. So for every point the market moves, you have the ability to make money. Well, you say, well, Donnie, the market didn't even move 5 cents, and you're telling me that I made $500? Yes. How cool is that? In Forex, the word pip or point means the same thing. Now, the pip is measured in the 4th decimal of an exchange rate. So a lot of times we only say, "Can I get $1.50?" Right? We all got that uncle that say, "Let me hold $20." Right? How many people got that relative? Every time we turn around, "Let me hold $20." Nephew, let me hold $20. Man, uncle, when you gonna have $20? So now, in the exchange rate world, there's actually more numbers. And as you guys can see on the bottom of my screen, I have an example up here. A pip is measured in the 4th place from the decimal. So as you guys can see here on the screen, I have GDP USD. And right now, this just means 1.4605. You'll normally just say, "I need $1.46 at the register." But in Forex, it's actually $1.4605. Now, every time that decimal moves up or down, depending on how you took the trade or called the trade, right? I don't want to say how you bet, right? That's a bad term because we know what we're doing. So we're not betting at anything. Okay? If you said the Great Britain pound was going to rise over the US dollar and it moves up 2 points and each point is worth $10, how much money did you just make? Did I say anything about it moving from $1.46 to $1.48? I just said points. $20. Thank you, Tim. $20. That's how easy the Forex market is. So you're telling me, Donnie Pips, that I can make money on money even though the money didn't change? Yes. How big of a tongue twister was that? You made money on money without money changing. You can't do that in stocks. Because if you buy a stock at 146, you need this stock to rise. But in Forex, you need the percentage to rise. You need a point to rise or fall. Because in stocks, you can't buy, depending on what you're doing, you can't buy and sell the stock market. In Forex, I want you to throw this out the window. Buy low, sell high. There's no such thing as that. Because in Forex, you can sell at 1.4605. And if you decide to sell at 1.4605 and it goes down 2 points, you just made $20. Now, the only exception to the rule that the pip is the 4th place from the decimal is the yen pair. This is the only exception. Okay? This exception is 2 spaces from the dollar or from the decimal. Reason being is the yen is the closest currency to the US dollar. The yen is the closest currency to the US dollar. And that was on purpose after World War II. Okay? So it'll read USD JPY at 141.57. So if that moved up 2 pips, you just made $20. So how many people like pips now? For every 1 pip the market moves, you have the ability to make $10. You have the ability to make $5. You have the ability to make $100. And that's all going to be on how aggressive you want to be. Okay? Now, let's talk about how that money is equated, right? We just talked about what a pip was. You're going to see on a lot of different exchanges, okay? And we're not here to talk about exchanges. We're going to talk about different bets or different values have different outcomes. We trade in what's called units, right? So you'll see on some brokers or some exchanges, it says 1,000 units. The word unit only means currency. Do you know I had somebody trading Forex for over 3 years and they never knew that to this day? They said, "Donnie, I never knew that." Oh, it's if I trade on TradingView, it's in units. The word unit only means currency. Does everybody understand that? The word unit only means currency. We trade in units I'm in the United States, so I trade in dollars. So that 100,000 units just means $100,000. Now, we trade in lots. Why? Because remember what I stated, we're trading a penny. So when we're trading a penny, the broker is going to give us more money to trade with. So we trade what's called lots. Think of money as in barrels, right? They're in bundles of wheat, okay? And in those bundles, like in school, they would bundle things up. That's how money is traded. It's traded in bundles. Does everybody understand that? And in those bundles, we have 1,000 units. And that 1,000 unit is called a micro. It's the smallest unit we can trade. Okay? It's anything from 0 to 1,000 is called a micro lot. And 1,000 units or $1,000 is equivalent to 10 cents per pip. So that means if I'm trading 1,000 units, every time that point moves up, I make 20 cents. Doesn't seem like a lot, right? But as you're learning and you still made $2, is that okay with you? You made $10. Is that okay with you? Perfect. Because here's why. That micro unit, that micro lot can go all the way up to 9,999 units, which means that I can make 99 cents on a micro lot. Now it changes perspectives, right? So now you just made 99 cents per move, per point moving. And then we have what's known as our minis. Our minis are where we kind of really feel confident about ourselves, right? Our minis are 10,000 units, which is equivalent to $10,000. So the broker has given you $10,000 of trading power. And you are now making $1 a point movement. How's that sound? So if the market moves 5 points, you just made $5. So if the market moves 20 points, how much money did you just make? A lot better than that $2, right? So the last time we made $2, but now we're making $1. And that same trade, now we make 20 bucks. How many people will take $20 now, right? Now it's like, oh my God, this is getting really interesting. Now the broker, now mind you, you still have, and we'll use $100 as an example. You still had that $100 that you invested in your trading account. You put in $100 and the broker allowed you to trade 10,000 units. You just made $20. How many people will take $20 every time they push a button on their smartphone? Go over to my phone. Bam, I made 20 bucks. Gas money. Well, not for me because I can only use the highest one, but lunch money. Then there's 100,000 units or $100,000. Somebody says, I like staying at the tens place of trading. Yes, you can. Why? Because the mini lots go all the way up from 10,000 units to 99,999 units. So that means now you're making $9.99 on the max trade for a mini lot. And then you have what's called a standard lot. And I'm going to tell you why this is why the banks and institutions make a lot of money. A standard lot is equivalent to $10 a pip. That means you are trading $100,000. And if you get it right, this is huge. Starting, depending on what pair you're trading, it could be anywhere from $6 to $10, right? It could be anywhere from $100, depending on what pair you're trading. But imagine you getting this right, and now you just made 20 pips. The market moved in your direction 20 pips. How much money did you just make on that same trade that Donnie Pips made for $2? How much money did you make? $200. Everybody put 200 in the chat. Nice. And I'm going to slow it down, speaking just a little bit so my interpreters can keep up. Awesome sauce. 200. How's that sound, guys? When you learn this skill set, you have the ability to make $200. And somebody said, Donnie, well, to make $200, I have to go to work for 8 hours. In trading, that can be made in a matter of seconds, in a matter of minutes, in a matter of hours when you're trading Forex. How many people like the sound of that? Especially if you're new here today and you've never looked at trading before. Perfect. Now, understanding market moves. Sounds great, right? There's always going to be a thing called a buyer and a seller, right? Sometimes you might see it as a bid and a ask. Give me 1 second. I'll gladly take 200. Sounds pretty exciting, right? Exactly. Trading Forex is nothing more than the ability to recognize what direction the market is moving. The ability to stay calm and take it personal. So now let's talk about buys and sells. Let's talk about, or we call it supply and demand, okay? You guys are going to see a currency pair in two different ways. You're going to see a bid and an ask, a buy and a sell. A bid is nothing more than what people are willing to pay, right? You bid on it. And this is how simple it is. Somebody said, I don't know what bid means. I don't know what ask means. You are willing to pay that price. You bid on it. Just like in everything else. You bid on a car. If you're not willing to pay for something, you're not going to bid on it. So the word bid just simply means what people are willing to pay. Oh, I'm going to get in the market now. I'm willing to bid on that price. And then ask is nothing more than what people are willing to sell for. Because in Forex, we can trade in both directions. Right? So when people say, well, how does the market move? If the market moves based off, are there more buyers and sellers in a particular asset at that time? Right? But now here's what you have to understand. There's always going to be an equivalent exchange of buyers and sellers. Somebody has to be willing to take your order at that price. Well, Donnie, what if I put in 5 orders? What if I put in 5 orders? Well, just like anything else, if you put in 5 orders, let's say you only got 2 buyers at one price, that price is going to shift. Okay, and we'll talk about that. And this is how easy the market is. So as you guys can see on the purple side, there was a bid price of 1.1051 euro versus the USD. And then there was an ask price. And notice how they're different. Notice how that's 1.1053 versus 1.1051. That's 2 pips. I want you to keep that difference in mind. That difference is what we call the spread. And I'm going to get into that in a moment. And this is really important for a lot of you traders on here to understand that the difference between the bid price and the ask price is called the spread. Okay? So now let's talk about that. Donnie, why does it move? Well, like I said, if Carla right now puts in a trade and she wants to sell, she's got 5 crayons. Okay, Carla's got 5 crayons. Okay, and Carla is, let's say, selling those 5 crayons, and then Victor comes along and says, I might want to buy 5 crayons. Well, there's not enough people there, right? So Carla's 5 crayons at 140, there's only 3 buyers, and those 3 buyers there are at 103. So that's all that's going to be sold are those 3. How many does she have left? She has 2 left over, and the buyers are willing to pay 105 for it. So y'all see that? So sometimes when you get into the market, and let's say you got into the market at 140, and the market opened you up at 140.05 or 140.06, that's because there wasn't enough people to buy what you were selling at that price. Does that make sense? So the price changed, or what you were selling, either or. If you're selling something at one point, you might not have enough buyers at that price, or if you're trying to buy something. So he says, well, oh, I'm going to buy 5 orders of burgers, right? I love burgers, right? We got 5 orders of smash burgers. But Mr. Bean only has 3 available, and he's selling his for 104.03. So you're going to buy those 3, but then you go over to Steve's booth, and Steve has 2 burgers available at 140.05. Now you have your 5 burgers. That's the same way the market moves. There has to be an equivalent exchange, and if there's not, the price needs to be filled at the next buying opportunity. Does everybody understand that? You will never see this in Forex, but I want you guys to know why price moves. Donnie, I pushed the button at 140, but it didn't open me up until 140.05. That's because there weren't enough people willing to sell at your price. Okay? So I want people to really understand that. Any questions? Any questions on that? I always like to open up the end of that first segment for questions and things like that before I really open it up. Any questions? So let me backtrack. All right. Let's just do a recap. We get paid in pips. Carl, the last one. Yeah, it's just simply when you get into the market and you get in at 140, let's just say we're trading a yen pair. If you get in at 140, let's say you want to buy something and you want to buy 5 of them. Okay. Let's just say you want to buy 5 cheeseburgers. Okay. There will be only 3 orders available at 140.03. So the next 2 will be available at 140.05. So therefore, you might see your order open you up at 140.05. Okay? All right. So that's kind of the basics of the Forex market. Can you explain a pip? A pip is nothing more than a point in percentage. Not sure if you were here. Okay. And the market moves in points in percentage. So every time the market moves in one direction or another, you're going to get paid for each point the market moves, depending on the pip, the value that you traded at. Okay, Roger? Hope I said that right. Okay. Real quick, let me see if this works. Oops. Did not work. Perfect. All right. Yep. Thank you, Leslie. Nice. Now, let's break down that pip, as Ja just said. I think Roger said. Understanding that pip. Tim said, how can the speed of your internet affect how quickly you can and cannot make the trade? Oh, man. Tim, the worst thing you could ever do is have really bad internet, okay? When it comes to trading, a broker is nothing more than a bridge from your device to the market. And if you go to place an order at one, as I have on my screen here, you place the market order at 140. But because of the speed of your internet, you didn't get in the trade. It did not go to the bridge to the liquidity provider who has the money for the order in the market. Now all of a sudden you look at your device, your phone, and you got in at a lower price, at a worse entry. How many people would be upset if you push the button and you're in a negative $50? How many people would be upset? How many people would be upset right now if they push the button to get into the market and they're down $50? That's the effect of having bad internet. Okay? That's the effect of having bad internet. I tell people right now, that is one of the biggest issues I have, is that making sure that I have a router, proper internet, okay? Because you're making money pushing a button. Okay? Now, let's understand that PIP, as John just said, and I'm glad he asked that, because that's what we're getting at. Exchange rates and how they are equivalent to what we are looking at. When we're trading the Forex market, we're trading two pairs, right? We're trading one country versus the other. The first country or first pair that you will see, and I'm going to give you guys an example in a minute. Internet is slow sometimes. Sylvia, you are a great candidate for our internet box, okay? You're going to see pairs written as GBP, USD, JPY, and so forth. The first pair written is always going to be the base currency, okay? That's the base. That's the currency that's either being bought or sold, okay? I'm going to go over that, Tony. Yep, don't worry. I'm going to go over that. There's a method to my madness, okay? So you have your base currency. That's why I said keep in mind that spread word, okay? The base currency is always one. All right, always one. So no matter what currency you're trading, whether it be the dollar, whether it be the GBP, whether it be the euro, it's always going to be one. Now the term currency is where the price comes into effect. The term currency is how much it's going to cost you to buy that base currency. So looking at my screen right now, if I wanted one Great Britain pound, how much would it cost me? It would cost me $1.20. Exactly. $1.20, 0.56. So that's the number we're looking at. We're buying and selling is that number. The base currency just means one. So when I see USD, that's just one. I'm buying one USD to 147. Okay. Now, as who was that who asked about that bid and that spread price? And this is why I wanted to show that. So we see on my screen, I have a chart up here from what's called MetaTrader 5. Okay. On here on MetaTrader 5, it might look like this. When we open up orders, this is kind of an example of what you will see. As you guys can see here, I'm buying Euro USD. And here, I'm just going to say on volume, you see I'm betting 1.25, and that's nothing more than my lot size. And I'll explain that in a later class, but I'm literally betting over $100,000. But on this trade, you won't need $100,000 to bet. But that's just what that value means. Some people just ask, okay? So now we see that ask price and that bid price. And remember how I said to you a few slides ago that they're going to be different. And here we can see that the bid price is 1.3022. And don't worry about the 9. The 9 is just called a pipette. That's on some brokers. Not everybody has a pipette, but that 9 is just a pipette, okay? My ask price is 1.3024. Okay. Nice. All right. So here on the euro, there's a 2 pip difference. The difference between the bid and the ask is called the spread. So now a lot of people say spread. Okay. Think of a spread like a football square during Christmas time. Everybody watch the Super Bowl, right? And at work, they get these spreads and say, oh, do you want to buy a square? Okay. Now, the spread is nothing more than, and if you're a Packers fan, okay, again, the Packers versus the Steelers, because that still stings. Your team has to score 2 points. Any points after your team scores 2 points, for every point your team scores, you're going to make $10. How's that sound? How does that sound? So once the Packers score 2 points, any points after that, you're going to make money. How does that sound? Nice, right? That's the spread. The spread means that before you can get paid or make money, you have to cover the spread. All right, well, why? Well, why do I have to cover a spread to make money? Because remember, you're trading somebody else's money. Okay? You're trading somebody else's money. So if I just gave Cleve $100,000 of mine, what's the benefit of that? If I just gave you $10,000 and you have $100, what's the benefit of me giving you money? What's the benefit off of that? Yeah, for you, there's no benefit for me if I gave you money, right? If I gave Kendrick money right now and said, Kendrick, I'm gonna invest in you $100,000, right? So when Kendrick goes to trade, I need to make my money back on my money. So the broker is going to get paid before you get paid. Well, how many people think that's a fair trade-off? I'm going to give you money to trade with, and you're going to be a good trader because of Donnie Pips, but it's going to cost you. Say $10. Is that a fair trade-off? Yeah. But now there's a catch to that. Something is better than nothing, right, Brandon? Exactly. Something is better than nothing. So the spread is the difference between the bid and the ask price, as you guys can see on my screen here. And this is where I want you guys to really understand about making money. I tell you, the spread on my broker is $2 is $5 a pip. So that means price has to, one, go up $10. Anything over $10, you make money. Real simple, right? Real easy. You get to keep anything after. So the spread is nothing more than the broker or the liquidity provider making money. Okay? Each broker might be different. So please look at what broker you decide to choose. Ask the broker what your spreads are. A lot of times spreads are rolling based off of how volatile the market is. So just because the spread today is 2 pips, it doesn't mean tomorrow it's going to be 2 pips. Does everybody understand that? Just because right now at 11 o'clock, it's at 2, doesn't mean that at 12, it's going to be at 2. The spreads vary based off the volatility of that market or how much volume is being put into that market. So do look at the pairs that you are trading as it does change. Okay. Perfect. Now, on this chart, as you guys see, I've got a red line and a green line. Does everybody see where the buy line is on this chart? See where it says ask price 130,245? And does everybody see the bid price 130,229? Everybody see that? Remember I stated what these meant before. So if you are buying the market and you click the blue button for a buy, the market is not going to put you in at 1.3024. The market is going to put you in at the sell price or the ask price. Because remember, that's what they're willing to sell it to you for. How many people just had an aha moment? So you're going to get in at the red line. And remember, once you come up to where the blue line is and go over the blue line, all of that now is your profit. So if the closer these two lines are, the better the spread is. The further these two lines are when you look at your entry into the Forex market, the further away that they are, do you think you want to get into that trade? No. Thank you. No. Hell no. Nope. I don't care what you call it. No. So when you're trading, you don't have to just sit there and trade Euro USD if that spread is going to cost you $50. You can then go to another pair, GBP, JPY, or something else, and the spread is half a pip. Okay, exactly. Your profit potential goes away the further the spread is. Now, crypto might have a bigger spread. Okay, trading crypto via the Forex market might have a bigger spread. Okay, but do check with your liquidity, your brokers, providers to see what the spreads are, or just simply ask them. Okay. Awesome sauce. Okay. Now, understanding again, just like I said, half a pip. Yes, Clive, you will see some brokers where it might only cost you a half a pip to get in. Okay. So now somebody asked a question about the fees. The spread is not the fee. The spread is not a fee. A fee is going to the broker to make more money. That's it. So remember, the spread is paid to the liquidity provider, right? The person that's giving up the money. The commission or the fee is paid to the middleman, the broker firm. And your fee is based off of how much you are willing to bet. The more money that you use, the more money that the broker is going to take for their cut. So let's say that those 2 pips cost you $10, $5 a pip. Now, you got in that trade, the broker might charge you a fee, right, of $7. Okay? The broker might charge you $3.50 a lot or something like that, depending on what broker you use. The commission, so you'll see a commission on some of your brokers, they're going to charge you to place the trade with them, to be the middleman. Remember, on Wall Street, there used to be signal callers, right? You know, 5 on this and 2, those signal callers, right? The broker firm today is nothing more than the signal caller for you. They're the bridge between you and the actual commodity you are trading. They got to get paid too. All right, so you notice how everybody has to get paid before you get paid? Okay, so do check with the broker you're using to see what the fee is, what the commission cost of pushing that button. Remember, to get in at a micro lot might cost you only 10 cents, which is great. But the higher you go up, when you get to a mini lot, it might cost you $7 or $4, or to a standard lot, which is $100,000. The broker might charge you $15 to get into that trade, but I'm okay with that. If a broker is charging me $15 to trade $100,000 and I'm only putting in one order, I'm okay with that. How many people are okay with that? You're trading $100,000 and it only costs you $15. I'm okay with that. Okay. So again, a fee is the commission or fee is what is taken by the broker to bridge you and the liquidity provider together. The spread is what the liquidity provider makes based off the volatility of the market. And again, the higher the volatility, the bigger the risk that they take on. So the spread might be a lot higher. Okay. Perfect. So now you guys just learned about what your bid and ask is, what your spread is. Okay. And then how does that look? Again, as I told you guys earlier, a standard lot is $100,000 of the base currency. Whereas one mini lot is only $10,000 of the base currency. So for all my new traders, everybody on here, you should be at a mini lot. How many people want to make this personal? And this is where I'm really going to get in your ass. Good. Don't trade for a Lambo. Don't trade for a Rolls Royce. You're going to trade to replace your 9 to 5. And we're going to make it realistic. Trading needs to be realistic. Don't come to me and say, Donnie, I need to make $50,000 this month. I'm going to throw you out. If you don't make $50,000 a month right now, you don't have $50,000 a month work ethic. But if you came to me and said, Donnie, I make $150 a day, I make minimum wage, I need to replace that. That's realistic. Now we can work. Because trading is about goals and targets. Trading is about goals and targets, but it has to be realistic. So if you're sitting on here now thinking you're going to get a Lambo next week, please kindly log off because it's not going to happen. But if you said, Donnie, I need to take an hour of time off to go to my daughter's dance recital, that's realistic. Now it's personal. Okay. And the most people who take this personal are the people who are going to make this work. Okay. So one micro lot is $1,000 of the base currency. So in my example here, we buy 2 mini lots. 2 mini lots is $20,000 of UCAD. UCAD is 1.375. Right. And if we were to sell it, the sell price would be 1.3760. Okay. 2 mini lots. And this is where Forex becomes really, really important. At a 1-to-1 leverage, right? That means you were trading a stock. At a 1-to-1 leverage, just to get into the market, if the market didn't offer leverage, do you know just to get into a mini lot trade, right? It would cost you $20,000. Right? It would cost you $20,000. Now, this is with no leverage. And let's say you got a 100 pip profit. You would have only made $200. So you telling me, Donnie, I did all that. I put up 20 grand and the market moved 100 points and I only made $200? Doesn't seem fair, right? Doesn't seem that's a scam, right? How many people say, man, I ain't doing Forex? I made 200. I put up 20,000 to only make $200. Sounds crazy. Well, that's banking. That's stocks. That's the stock market for you. Okay. And I'm not knocking the stock market. I have a lot of stocks. Okay. So I'm not knocking it. So let's talk about that leverage that the market can give you. The brokers are going to give you money on good faith. This is your good faith loan. This is me going to Mr. Bean in Houston, Texas and saying, sir, let me get your house. Kim kicking me out before I even get to the kitchen. All right. You deposit $100. You deposit $100 to control what the bank loans you. Okay. And the bank, and I'm telling you now, the broker, right? Because the bank ain't going to give you, you can't go to a bank right now and say, hey, can I get $50,000? They're going to look at you like you're crazy. Right. But the broker is going to say, if you put $100 in with me and in good faith, I'm going to now give you a leverage of a 1 to 100 or 100 to 1, right? 1 to 100 just simply means for every $1 in your account, how much did you put in your account? How much did you put in your account? $100, right? We put $100 in, right? We got a $100 deposit. Me as the broker, I'm now going to tell you for every $1 in that account, I'm going to give you $100 per $1. How much money now in leverage do you have? You have $100, and now the broker just gave you $10,000. Okay, so do the math. 1 times 100 times 100. Okay, 10K. You now have 10K. So now on that 10K, there might be a margin requirement of $200, right? Okay, on those 2 pips, you just made $200 on your $100. 20K, right? Too many lots cost 20K. You made off that $100, you just made $200. A lot better than 20,000 making $200, right? Well, what if I told you I'm going to give you 500 to 1? Well, what do you mean, Donnie? Oh, you put in that same $100. I'm now going to give you $500 for every $100. Now the margin requirement might change. So now you might make more money because you have a higher leverage. So remember, in good faith, the broker is going to give you money. That means what you control, not what you have, what you control. How much can you lose? So as you see here, the deposit, $100. The broker in good faith, 50 to 1, we're going to give you $5,000. 100 to 1, the broker is going to give you $10,000. 500 to 1, you control $50,000. And as John said it, that original C note, old school, you can only lose $100. So if you put in $100 and at 500 to 1, you have $50,000 in capital and you only have $100. How much will you need to control one standard lot? How much money of your own money would you need to control a one standard lot? Nope. If $100 is only getting you 50,000, 200. Laura Johnson, reach out to me. I got a cold storage wallet for you. That's 2. Okay. Laura Johnson, I got a cold storage wallet for you. Good job. But now there's a problem with that. And this is where we run into a problem. And this is why Build was created. If $200 just gave me, yeah, you can congratulate her. If $200 just gave me $100,000 in control, if the broker is already taking a spread and a fee, would it make sense to get into a standard lot trade with $200? No, you only have $100,000. You just lost. To get in that trade, it's going to cost you money, right? No, it is not wise to get into a $100,000 trade or a standard lot trade with $200. Okay, perfect. And then just remember, again, you don't get to keep their money, not your money. Say, well, I had $50,000 to trade with. No, You only get to keep your original C note. You deposited $100. The broker max leverage, they gave you 500 to 1. So they gave you 50,000. Okay. If 2 pips on the spread already cost you $20, therefore you don't have a full $100,000 to enter that trade. Okay. So I tell people, if you're going to trade a standard lot, you're going to at least need $250. You're going to at least need money for the spread and the commission or fee. Remember, their cut comes first. It doesn't come after, they come first. Okay? So you need at least $250 in your own money to control 100 grand. Okay? Or place a standard lot trade. But that's not bad. How many people would put up $250 for a $100,000 chance to make money? I got 200 people on here. Exactly. Exactly. Now, one thing I want to tell you guys is fail going up. Fail going up. Even a loss is a win when it comes to learning. Even a loss is a win when it comes to learning. 90% of traders lose 90% of their starting capital within 90 days because they don't have the right education. I always tell people, fail going forward, not backwards. You knew that guy was a red flag and you dated him. And then all of a sudden, you go and date another red flag. You failing backwards. Do not fail backwards in your trading journey. Okay? Now, these are just some of the key points I touch on. Balance and equity. Understanding how your money works for you. What you have versus what you can lose. And that's why the Forex market is so great. Right? If you have a balance of something and you have more money to trade with, kind of feel good, right? I have $100 in my trading account and I'm able to trade money. Well, here's the best thing about Forex, unlike stocks. In Forex, if you're in a winning trade, and let's say you're up $50, do you know you can now use that $50 as leverage into another trade? Did everybody know that? That you can be in a winning trade and now use that money in a winning trade to open up another trade. So now when we're looking at certain things on the market, we're going to say, well, my balance is what I currently put in. Okay. Compound leverage. I like that, Dale. Exactly. That's good to know. The balance only represents the outcome of a trader's closed position. How much money do I have without any opened orders in the market? Right? The equity represents open positions, right? You might have an open position as well as your original balance. All right. For an example, like I have here, if you deposited $500 and you opened a position and you lose, you're in a loss of $100. Just because you're in a loss doesn't mean you've lost that money. As we say in Forex, you can be in what's called drawdown. Okay. Meaning that if you have $200 and you're in drawdown, you could be in drawdown $100. Doesn't mean you've lost that $100. It just means that if you closed out that specific trade, you will then lose that amount of money. So that is drawdown, okay? Which we go over in our course. All right. Perfect. But I like equity in trading Forex because I can use my open positions to open more trades, or my winning positions to open more trades. Okay. Now, what does all the money mean? Somebody said to me the other day, they said, hey, Donnie, I'm really confused about my balance and equity. How many people have looked at something like this and they've been really confused? And they said, I just don't understand. Again, balance is nothing more than what you have. Everything's closed out. That's what I have. That's what I made. Equity is nothing more than the balance and current results of open positions, whether it be the swap fee and the broker's commission, as you guys see on my trade. That's your equity. How many people just got a light bulb moment? Right? So if you know that you put in $500, but then your equity is at $100, you might not want to open up another trade because you only have $100 worth of cushion. But if you put in $500 and then your equity is at $5,000, listen, swing for the fences, push the damn button. Okay? Now, equity can be lower than the balance in different cases, as I just stated. Trades are losing, right? And the profits from the trades does not compensate for swaps and the broker commission. Okay, so just keep that in mind. Important. Equity does not include your margin either. And this is where a lot of people say, Donnie, I have no clue what margin means. Okay, margin is the amount of capital needed to open a position or a trade as collateral. You can have positions opened for days, months. There's for those who don't know, there's a standard code in a lot of brokers that will keep a trade open for 30 days. Okay? 30 days, all right, in Forex. Okay? So in Forex, if you open a trade, the broker might have a standard option of 30 days. But now understand, the longer you hold that trade open, there's a thing called a swap fee. So every day a trade is open, you have to pay a fee for that trade to stay open. Okay? Now, margin is calculated based on your leverage given by the broker. Okay? So margin is calculated based off your leverage. So the more leverage you have, i.e. more capital the broker is willing to give you, the higher your leverage is going to be. Okay? And then sometimes you might see I like the scalp, so do I. All right? Only when it suits me. What is free margin? You might see a word free. Free margin is the difference between your account equity and the open positions required margin. Okay? So it's just a way of saying, hey, here you go. This is what's available. Okay? Does that kind of break down a lot of the answers that questions you guys have when it comes to viewing your accounts for those who have been trading before or more? Right? You see the equity, and you're kind of like, hey, Donnie, these are just a lot of the questions I get asked on the beginner basics. Okay? Nice. All right? I don't know why that says day 2. Oh, it does. Okay. Perfect. So now, Donnie, there's different types of trading. Okay, and I'm going to kind of skip over this for today. But there's buys. You buy a security, right? You're hoping that the price rises as we're trading Forex. So we're buying the US dollar versus the Japanese yen, and we're placing buys. It's simple as pushing the button. And we're hoping that the position is going to go up. So you might hear somebody say they're in a long position. That just means that the trader is in a buy. Then you might hear someone say we're selling a stock or a currency, right? And we might say we're in a sell. Or you might hear somebody say, I'm shorting the market. That just means that they're selling the market. Now in stocks, you can only short the market if you own what? The stock. In Forex, you don't have to buy the asset to short the asset. You're selling the asset. You're buying somebody's position and hoping somebody's going to buy it at a future price. Man, that sounded good, didn't it? You're selling a position that you took from somebody else in hopes that somebody else is going to buy it from you at a lower price. Man, that's good. Yes, you can trade that way. Yes, you can trade that way. And that's called nothing but selling the market. Okay? So these are kind of some of the terms you guys are going to hear and trying to figure out which way did the market go. All right. And then you have order types, different types of orders. How many people are busy during the day and can't push the button? How many people say, you know what, I can't wait for the market to get to where I want it to be? Well, in Forex, you can actually set your order types. You can actually place a pending order, and when the market comes to that price point, it will open you up in the market. Okay. Well, John, you have several types of orders, okay? But you have limit orders, you have market orders, and then you have buy orders. But yes, you have market orders. So these are different types of order types, okay? Now, remember, you can buy and sell. So you can also place an order, a future order for a sell. You can wait for price in the future to get to a certain number and then sell. Okay? So order types just mean pretty much for those who are busy or those who want to wait for price to get to a certain price point to either buy or sell, they can. Okay? You have pending orders. Pending orders are nothing more than that. Pending orders, also known as an entry order, is placed when you want to get into the market, right? At a certain price point. I'm going to wait for a price point to get there, and boom, I'm going to take a buy. The best thing about Forex is that you can wait for price to keep going up, and then it keeps buying as well to get into the market. These are kind of what the orders look like. Types of pending orders. We have buy stops. As you guys see on the left-hand side are my buys. A buy stop is selected or opened when a trader anticipates that the current trend or uptrend is going to continue rising, right? So if the market is currently at 125 and I anticipate that the market is going to keep going up, but I want to wait till price gets to 130. You can set a buy stop at 130, and then as price is rising, guys see my hand, as price is rising, the buy stop is going to activate, and you're going to be making money on anything above 130. Then you have yes, Ms. Pat, exactly. Okay, Ms. Pat said it was simply, it's strange to understand that you can sell something that you do not own. Traditional assets can only sell what you own, and that's why we take advantage of the Forex market. Because we're able to sell something that we don't own, and I like that. Very, very good. All right. Then we have our sell stops. On the other hand, price was at 130, but we think that once price hits 120, it's going to keep going. So we're going to set a sell stop below current price, and as price is coming down, it's going to open me up, my trade up, and then keep going, and I'm going to make money beyond 120. How cool is that? So those are our stop orders. Then we have our limit orders. I think as somebody said, John, order as a buy limit or something like that. Our buy limits are below us. A buy limit is nothing more than the market being at 140, and I think that the market is going to come back to 125 and then start buying again. So what I will do is I will place my order, right, my trade for a buy at 125. Right now, price is at 140. When price comes down to 125, it's going to open me up, and I'm going to be in profit as price starts rising again. Pretty cool, huh? And then sell limit is just the opposite. I think at a certain price point, the market is going to come up, touch that price point, and then drop. So I'm going to set a sell limit at that price point. So when price comes up, it's going to touch me, open me up, and then it's going to start dropping again. And guess what? I get to make money off of the market falling down. How pretty cool is that? Awesome sauce, right? Pretty cool. So those are the different types of orders. I never understood the difference between stop orders and limit orders. Well, now you do, right? Stop orders are above or below current price, and buy our limit orders are price coming back to get you and then going back another direction. Okay, so think of stop orders as continuation, and think of limit orders as reversal orders. Okay, that's how you think about that. Awesome. All right, cool. All right, keep in mind, all right, people lie, but numbers don't in Forex. All right, people lie, but numbers don't. Okay, I love all the flexers on social medias, but people lie, numbers don't. The Forex market is only trending about 70 to 80% of the time. And then it's going to be doing trending just simply means it's going up, right? Or it's going down. And then the market is consolidating about 20 to 30% of the rest. That means it's just moving sideways. And here at Build, you're going to be able to take advantage of understanding all of that and making a profit off of all of that. Okay? Beautiful. Any questions? Everybody good? Yeah, I seen your question. Yep, I seen your question. Yes. Now, let me ask everybody a question before I get into the other side of the market. What's your goal? What's your trading goal? Right now, everybody's here on Build. They're here on our boot camp today. What is your goal? And what I mean by that is, how much money needs to be made in your life for you to say trading works? And your goal can be, as Dale's got 500, right? And that could be weekly, that could be monthly, that could be daily. 1,000 a day, 400 a week. And I want you guys to keep it realistic. Don't put $10,000 a day and you don't have a $10,000 a day work ethic. Sam Bean does. He can put $10,000 a day. So Mr. Bean can. Mr. Navarro can. Right? 300 to 500 a day. You see that? 1,000 a month. Do y'all see how it's realistic now? Do y'all see how you've made it personal? $200 a day. Carmen Lopez, 500. 200 daily. That's where trading has to be. 300 a week. Laura, great job, right? 3% a month. I don't do percentages because percentages lie. So when somebody comes to me and be like, oh, I made 5%. 5% could be on $100 could be what? $5, right? I don't do percentages. Do numbers. Don't undercut your ability to make money. Okay? Don't undercut that. Don't give me a percentage. Okay? This is boot camp. All right. And I'm the drill instructor. Don't give me a percentage. Give me a number. $500. There you go. Now it's realistic. 200. No, don't be sorry. Don't be sorry. You're now learning from the right organization. 1,000 a day. There we go. So we've made it realistic, but now we have to understand the emotional side of trading, right? Because all these are doable. James, 6,000 is very doable, right? Do you know my goal is still to this day $350 a day? I know I got some students on the chat. They'll tell you. My goal to this day is still $350 a day. Because it's realistic. Even though Donnie Pipp still does, you know, I think I was on the other day with some of the groups, and I think I lost 12 grand in one trade. And I closed the trade out, and I was really calm. Because I'm going to teach you how to trade without emotion. He says, well, Donnie, you've been doing this for 15 years. No, I get upset. I lost $50,000 once, and I cried. I'm not going to lie, I cried. But I made it realistic, and I'm going to teach you a strategy to not trade emotionally today and tomorrow. Tomorrow's a banger. Most of the people are fearful when they have a winning trade. How many people trade right now that says, when I win a trade, I close out? If I'm in the blue, I close out. But when I'm in the red all day long until I blow my account. Right? You're in drawdown $50. But then as soon as you up $2, you closing out the trade. That's because you're trading without a plan. You're gambling. Trading without a plan is nothing more than gambling. We're all adults here. That's like playing Russian roulette without a condom. Told you this is boot camp. We're gonna keep it simple. Don't do it. Have a plan every time you enter the market. Trade with a plan. Don't play Russian roulette with your money. You wouldn't with your life. So why do it with your money? Red is hope. Blue is I got the money. I need to know the plan. Exactly. And I'm going to show you that before we get out of here today. People are so fearful that they had a winning trade that they think that if they close it out, they're not going to get any more. Stop it. Let's talk about that. I'm in a losing trade. So I'm going to get into another losing trade. How many people have done that? How many people have gotten into a losing trade and then gotten into another losing trade? I think that's why Mr. Bean don't trade. He's getting heavy into it now, right? You get into one trade and then you get another trade. That just means you're averaging down on stupid. Don't do it. I hear somebody say, oh my God, he said stupid on the Zoom, Mr. Bean. Don't do it. Don't average down on stupid. We've done it before. Don't. Close the trade out and get into a winning trade. Okay? I've seen so many people lose a full account because they've gotten into more losing trades thinking that that last trade is going to make up for the first trade you got into. So as my new traders on here, never do that. Never do that. Don't average down. That's going to result in a larger loss. It's going to make frustrated. And then you're going to say trading doesn't work. Trading does work with the right strategy and right people. Okay. And then we have what's called trading without risk control. Boy, this was me here, gunslinger. Risk management is the best thing we have in our life. How many people right now teach their kids to look both ways before they cross the street? Right? How many people teach their kids not to touch the stove when the stove's on? That's risk management, right? We teach them how to do the right thing. So why, when it comes to trading, we're going to enter a market without proper strategy? Anything you do has a strategy. How many people on here are in love with their significant other? Right? When they found that one, you had a strategy. You had a strategy, right? They wine and dined you. We FaceTiming all night, right? For us who were born in that cord generation, you know, I'm standing next to the kitchen, you know, I got the cord wrapped around my arm and I'm playing, you know, some Boys to Men. I got a strategy. But then when you come to trading, there's no strategy. Right? There's no strategy. Have a strategy in the market. Something can always go wrong. I don't care how well your strategy is. It can go wrong. But if I have a strategy on how much I'm willing to lose, how much better do I feel? If I got into a trade right now and I said, okay, in this trade, I'm willing to give up $10. And let's say I lost $10. Am I okay with that? How many people are okay with losing $10? Because you plan for it. You plan for the loss. That's risk control. That's risk management. Well, let me tell you something. The moment that you decided to invest money, you lost it. You lost it. Okay? Right, I see your message. That's for other groups, okay? That's for other sessions. This is a general overview. But we will be going, we have 2 days. Thank you. All right. Have a safe zone. Have a safety net. So when we're trading, we're going to learn here at Build, how do I manage my emotions to trade? Because that's what you're doing. You're managing your emotions for risk management. Risk management means nothing more than what I'm willing to risk. And you've already risked it all. You put it in the market. But now how much gain are we going to have on that risk? Okay. Setting a stop loss. In the Forex market, you're able to set how much you're willing to lose. And we're going to learn that. Not following a trading plan. Oh my God. We go to boot camp for 13 weeks to learn how to be a United States Marine. Right? A lot of us beginner traders, we trade without a trading plan. What do you mean by a plan? How many people's day is planned out? When your day is planned out, you kind of know what you're doing, right? You go on vacation, kind of got that nice itinerary the wife got set up. We're doing this, we're doing that, we're doing that, we're doing that, right? The itinerary set. Well, in trading, there's a thing called a trading plan. And in your trading plan, you have what's called rules. How many parents I got on here right now? Probably everybody, right? Your kids have to follow rules. So should you. So in your trading plan are going to be your do's and don'ts. Your do's and don'ts are going to tell you, I'm going to get in the market on what I'm going to learn on support and resistance, supply and demand. I'm not going to enter the trade if the market is doing A, B, C, or D. It's a trading plan. All of us experienced traders have a plan. But nobody has a plan to get punched in the mouth by Mike Tyson. I can get in the ring with him all day long. But once he punches me in my mouth, my plan is out the window. When you start taking a loss in the financial markets, you throw your plan out the window. Where are my experienced traders at? How many people have done that? As soon as you start losing, you forgot your trading plan. I got one of my best traders on here who's already done, I think, about 10K this week. And for a while we had a session where he went away from his trading plan, so he got beat up, and I think he lost about 15 to 20 grand in 3 days. And all I did was go back and look at his trading plan and realize, well, what does your plan say? He's like, oh, shoot, you know what? I wasn't even paying attention to my trading plan. So we're going to understand risk control, have a trading plan. Okay. Somebody said, well, what does the trading plan look like? Well, a part of Build, we're going to show you how to do that. Okay. Now we're going to get into the boring part of trading. And why do I say it's boring? I like that, Jabari. 10K a week. Yes. I got traders doing 10K a week. How many people would like $10,000 a week? You know, again, all right, income disclaimer there. How many people would like $10,000 a week? I'm not sure if he's on. Superman, you on? How's it feel making money like that a week? You notice I'm calling him out because here, me and Mr. Bean are like brothers. We like receipts. Right? There he is. There he is. Crypto Superman, he'll tell you. He said, I'm here, see? Yep. Okay, we like receipts. Okay. Now we're going to get into those different types of isms. Those different kind of isms. Fundamental analysis, right? Analysis, technical analysis, the boring stuff. And I'm not going to read off these screens because I hate that. Fundamental analysis. And these are things we need to be able to trade the financial markets before we look at a chart. Because this is what's going to affect that chart. Because here's what's going to happen. You're going to get on a chart, you're going to see a chart, and you're going to say, Donnie, what just happened? And you're not going to know that there's another part to trading, and that part to trading affects the market, which is fundamental analysis. Fundamental analysis, before I get in trouble, is nothing more than economic data and political bullshit. That is it. But now let me explain that. And I saw some people say, I know he's right there. I know he's right there. You don't have to be a left winger or a right winger to know that the government can move the market. But in a nutshell, that's what it is. Fundamental analysis is nothing more than economic data that's released to the market every day around the world. Right? It's a fundamental indicator, and in a nutshell, what its purpose is to provide banks, governments, investors, and now retail traders with views of the economy. Because remember, trading Forex, we're doing what? We're trading one economy versus the other. So this data that comes out is going to tell us how well our economy is doing versus the other. Do y'all see how simple I just made fundamental analysis sound? Now, this data, which we can find on websites like FinViz, Forex Factory, you know, these data, they come out in reports, right? And these reports just simply tell us if we're contracting, expanding, or our economy is flat. And it lets us know what the future holds. Right now, if I came to you guys right now and said that 1 million people in the United States just lost their jobs, how well is my economy doing? Bad, right? So are we going to buy the dollar? No, we're going to bet against it, right? 1 million people. 1 million people lost their jobs, so we're going to buy against it. That's fundamental analysis. That's how some people trade. Some people trade based off of this data, and it's called a fundamental approach. Excuse me. Now, a lot of these, what we call fundamental indicators or data, right, is nothing more than the aspect of every big country, right? And these reports consist of jobs, housing, unemployment, interest rates, right? Exports and imports, and one of the biggest ones, consumer spending, right? Commodities and prices. If prices are rising in Europe, what does that tell us about Europe right now? If the gallon of milk is now more expensive in Europe, what does that tell us? Right? Something's going wrong. No, if prices are going up, no. Weak. Thank you. If prices are rising, something is wrong, right? Inflation. Thank you. Inflation. Patricia, make sure you just want a cold storage wallet. Great job. Inflation, right? It's costing more. Something has happened, right? Inflation is up. Okay. Now, all these reports, or data as we call it, right, helps the government create future monetary policies. So these reports tell us how well our country is doing, and then the government steps in and says, well, since our economy is so bad, we're going to set new rules. Right? Now, there's a lot of fundamental traders who believe they only trade the news. They only trade the data. Now, on the fundamental side, there's also that political BS. And that political BS is nothing more than going to war that affects the market. The president, something happening major in that country. We had, here in the United States, we had 9/11. Okay? Things like that. Two countries start fighting. That could affect the market. But we do have to determine that fluff. What's real and what's fake. We know that President Donald Trump is known for being a big troll or comedian, so you can't believe everything he puts out. But when it does get serious, sometimes it affects the market. Okay? Then there's that technical analysis. Technical analysis, as I got on my screen right here, is nothing more than the artwork. Technical analysis, in a nutshell, is this. And I told you guys we're going to keep it simple. Simplicity. Finding past data to trade the future. Technical analysis is nothing more than finding past data to trade the future. Technical analysis, the approach for this is nothing more than the belief that market sentiment, whether it be buying, selling, fear, or greed, is all captured on a price chart, right? If the market sold at 2,500 3 weeks ago because of an election, what is the market going to do again when it gets to 2,500 and there might be an election? What's going to happen? It's going to drop again. So price charts tell us that. Price charts tell us that the market is trending, right? So if it started trending at a certain price point before, what are the chances that it starts trending again? That's technical analysis. Now, you get fundamental traders who say technical traders are wrong and you can't go off of that, right? Past data and all the new data is what moves the market. Well, guess what? Neither one is right or wrong, okay? Why? Because there's different types of approaches to the market. And then you have what's known as relational analysis. Somebody said to me the other day, I've been trading for 5 years and I never heard the word relational analysis. That's fine. This goes into that. Relational analysis is nothing more than the premise of if one market is going up, the other market has to be going down. It's that simple. Money can't flow in a silo, right? Money can't just go in one place. It has to go somewhere. So if I'm sitting across from Mr. Bean, and Mr. Bean has $1 million in front of him in cash, and on the other side of the table is Donnie Pips, and I have gold bars. As Mr. Bean buys my gold bars, and I'm handing him a gold bars, what is happening to his money? It's going down. It's decreasing, right? So that's relational analysis in a nutshell. A lot of times when we get fearful, we start buying other assets because we think something is wrong, like a war. When a war goes to start, or potential war goes to start, we start getting away from the US dollar because they know that the US is always involved in some type of war. So when we go away from the US dollar, we typically start buying physical assets such as gold. Therefore, as the dollar decreases, gold starts going where? Up. That's relational analysis in a nutshell. And there's a lot of times we can trade just off of that. We can find a pair that's going up or that moves first in the market. And if that pair is going up, oh, I know that my pair that I like to trade is going down. So now I have the confidence to push the sell button. How's that sound? That's relational analysis. This goes into that. Money must flow from one chart to another. Okay? Pretty cool. And then it says, you know what, Donnie, how do I choose my approach? I want to, and somebody says, and I see, I think it was Jai, I can't remember, it says, well, what kind of trader are you? Right? Yeah, we hear the word scalpers, those are, short-term traders, and then position traders, you're in for a long time, different types of traders. And I'm going to go over to the chart in a minute. What type of trader are you? Well, before we can ask this big question, let's start trying to answer something more simple. Let's talk about the broad principles of trading. And this might help you find your approach as a trader, because I'm different from Michelle. I'm different from Donna. Everybody's different. So if somebody tells you you're trading the wrong way, they're wrong. And I'm going to tell you now, they can come back and see Donnie Pips. I will trade them live one-on-one if they say that you're wrong. One of the biggest questions is there is no right or wrong way to trade. It's your way. So right now, if you're on here right now with me still, there is no right or wrong way to trade the Forex market. It's your way. Short-term trading is more stressful than long-term trading. That is a great statement. Short-term trading is more stressful than long-term trading. Stocks are long-term trades, right? Where we put our money and we leave it. But if we get into the market and we're in there for 10 seconds, 15 seconds, that right there is stressful. We're taking $200 to try to make $100. That's stressful. Trading success as you start is about consistency, not money. I don't care what anybody says. I don't care what guru you've gone and seen. Here with Donnie Pips, I'm going to let you know now. Trading success as you start is about consistency, not money. Here's why. Consistency builds confidence. Confidence builds your lot size. The higher your lot size, the more confident you are, right? So you're confident, you know you're going to do good to trade. So now you're at that mini lot, that standard lot, right? You're betting bigger. If you haven't built that consistency in trading the market, you're going to be fearful of the market. Therefore, you're going to have those really small entries in the market, right? You're only making $2 for 20 pips because you're not consistent at trading. Right? But the more consistent you get, the more confident you get. And what happens when we get confident, men? Where we at? Right? Where we at? I bag shorty, yo. My confidence through the roof. New haircut, new dude. You know, we looking different. I got the Bill hat on, bald head going, you know what I mean? I'm clean, I'm shaved, confidence different. How much confidence do you have when you start winning? How much swagger do you have? So again, I don't care about the money. Don't come to me and say, Donnie Pips, I made $5,000 today. Yep. But then you look at the rest of your trades and you've lost over 30,000. I could care less. But if you show me 30 trades of winning $2, yo, that's when you got me fired up. That's when I'm fired up. I'm here. I'm ready to go, right? I'm all over the place because you were consistent. Because when you're consistent today, you're confident tomorrow, and now the money is rolling in. Your approach to the market is going to be different, and it's going to be based on many factors. Time available. What time can you trade the market? Right? You've got to work a 9 to 5, then you got kids, and then you got this and that, right? Your trade approach is going to be different. It might be more technical because there's no news, right? It's a slower market. You're just going off the technical analysis. You know, being able to mark up your chart, seeing the past data to trade the future. Your personality. What's your personality say about you? If somebody were to ask you right now, what's your personality? Right now, what's your, for those who don't know me on here, what is your take to Donnie Pips? What is your take on my personality? Right now, for those on here, what's your take? High energy, confident, right? Confident, right? Because I eat and sleep and breathe this. Risk taker, yep, okay. Consistent, right? So your personality is going to speak to the market. Your trading style is going to be based off your personality. I can't change that. Mr. Bean can't change that. Miss Bean can't change that. But we can enhance that. Right? We can't, but we can enhance it. So your approach to the market is going to be different. And then your attitude to risk. Do you know I got somebody on here right now? I'm not going to say no names. My tennis buddy, my traveling buddy. Do you know her attitude to risk is really strong? She'll be in drawdown, 5 grand, 7 grand, 10 grand. She'll look over and be like, oh, it's okay. I'm in drawdown. And then close the app and go on about her business. But then I've got people who will get in the trade. I've got one trader from the UK. Soon as she gets in the blue, she's closing out the trade. She's like, oh my God, that was scary. And I'm like, you know, you got $78,000 in your account right now. She will be in a drawdown, $5 and close out the trade with an $80,000 account. And then she calls me one day, and after we met and we went through the education you're going to get here at Build, She was up one day $13,000, and she calls me, and it's about 2 a.m. my time, right? It's in the middle of the night. And she says, oh my God, I'm up $13,000. What do I do? Close it out. She had let it run. You know, she had let the trade, and she had figured out that her personality and attitude to risk had changed just by simply stating there is no right or wrong way to trade. You have to be comfortable. Pat, listen, I wasn't trying to call you out. You guys see, we got receipts here at Bill. You see that, Sam? We got receipts here. I wasn't trying to call you out, but you said it. Right? So I want you guys to walk away from this and say, you know what? There is no right or wrong way to trade the Forex market. Okay? Now, what I'm going to do is, yeah, and I see your question. So somebody said, my problem is not having the right coach and bouncing from educator to educator. Here at Build, we've got something for everybody. I might not be everybody's cup of tea, but I have what's known as a solid foundation with the E3 strategy that teaches everybody how to trade the market. And when we see how we trade the market, we understand that. We understand that the market is based off what we see. This is what we'll be looking at. This is what's going to make you money. Right here. Taking what I went over today and putting it on a chart, a price chart. This is a price chart here. This is a blank price chart. And remember what I said about the market moving a few points to make money. David V, there you go. Where you located, David? I think in Africa. It's one of my Africa students. Love having a solid foundation. So everything I just talked about, we're going to be going over in depth, but it's going to be for here. This is where we make money. This is called a candlestick price chart. Okay? And in here, we're able to trade multiple different types of pairs. We're able to trade indices. Imagine now you can trade US 30, the top 30 stocks in the United States. You're able, E3 can help you become free, exactly. You're able to make money off of the stock market, trading it in the financial market. How many people didn't know that? How many people didn't know that? That you're able to trade the stock market in the Forex market, not to where you have to wait for it to make hundreds of thousands of dollars, but just by it moving certain points, pips, right? Now that you guys have understand that a point means pips, we're gonna start using my name, pips. For every pips that the stock market moves, you are now gonna make $10. I didn't know that. Yes, so you have the ability to trade the stock market. Those are called our indices. Our indices are known as US 30. The NASDAQ 100 can be traded via Forex. As you guys can see here, I got my markups here. Imagine this moving 20 pips and you make $200. Yep, S&P 500, you can trade that as well, okay? You can also trade the dollar index, depending on what broker you're using, okay? Trading the US dollar. And then we get into our currency pairs, our Forex pairs. So there's a lot to be traded in Forex, but our currency pairs, such as you guys can see here, USD JPY. And remember what I said about those different types of orders. When we understand how simple this looks, we are going to be able to trade this. And then you have hundreds of currency pairs. Then you have your index or your commodities. Your commodities are trading gold, oil, and silver via Forex. How many people would like to trade gold and not have to buy an ounce for $3,600? How many people would like to trade gold? But then you're making money on it really good, right? That's the Forex market. That's the foreign exchange market, being able to trade right? The real life trading charts being shown live action. Wow, yes, sign me up. Exactly. We do it live here. So yes, you can trade gold, you can trade silver, you can trade oil. Oil, not sure if I call her my oil queen because she loves trading oil. You can trade oil via the Forex market. That means you can trade it 5.5 days a week, 24/7. Well, 24 hours a day, 24/5. And just by you knowing that oil is going to go up, you don't need $62 to buy a barrel of oil. You just need to know the direction it's going, and then you make money. Sounds cool, right? How many people would love to buy a Bitcoin at $116,000? Not me, right? That's too high. But imagine if you can trade it with $100. Oops. Imagine you being able to trade it with $100. And here's the best thing. Tomorrow, Mr. Bean, I didn't tell him this yet. We're actually going to take a live trade in a live account. We're actually going to push the button live tomorrow. How's that sound? How's that sound, guys? We're actually going to trade live. So here tomorrow, we're actually going to be hands-on pushing the button. As you guys can see here on my screen, this is Bitcoin. And imagine you having $100 in your account and you being able to enter the market and taking a trade. I'm going to show you how to do all that tomorrow. As you guys can see here, we were trading Bitcoin the other day. So as you guys see, Donnie, what do all those lines mean? I'm going to show you all that. It's called marking up that technical analysis. So these are candlesticks. Gotcha, Barbie. Dope, because I wanted to know how to do this in real time. Exactly. How many people are excited for that? To actually see a live trade being placed to where understanding what we're looking at. All right, and tomorrow we're going to touch base on that. Exactly, John. I told you I had something for you, man. Right, learning what this is. So now we're just looking at TradingView. TradingView.com, and I'm going to encourage everybody right now to go over to TradingView.com and make an account. It's free. Okay, it is free. TradingView.com. TradingView is nothing more than us looking at a bunch of brokers, right? So if a bunch of brokers that have their charts on here. So you're going to see in real time different charts. And these charts may have their commission and spreads already connected to them. So we're going to be looking at that. Just updated my app. Nice job. Okay. And then we're going to learn what a supply and demand zone is, the fundamentals and the foundation to trading. Yep. TradingView.com. Yep. Trading, TradingVing, TradingView.com. Other than mindset, we're going to talk about the foundation of trading, supply and demand, support and resistance. Today, we went over the stuff, the boring stuff, right? The understanding of why we should trade the Forex market. Okay. Tomorrow, we're going to go over the mindset stuff and how to actually take a trade. And you're going to see how much money can be made while taking a trade. Because I'm going to take a trade at a mini lot. I'm going to take a trade at a standard lot tomorrow. I'm going to take a trade at a micro lot tomorrow. So you guys can see the difference. How many people would like to see me enter a $100,000 trade with less than $500 in my account? Right? We're gonna do that. Why are we gonna do that? Because real educators, real traders, they show you live. Okay. Thomas, I'll go over all that tomorrow. Okay. So don't worry about that. Again, this call is just for the basic overview right now. Okay. All right. And this is going to lead into a lot of things. Somebody said, And I see your question. And thank you for sending me directly. It says, I've kind of dabbled in trading Forex to be example, but with all these different type of brokers and happen to do this and happen to do that, for somebody as seasoned as me, I think they meant their age, seasoned as me, is there an easier way to navigate the Forex market? Yes, there is something exclusive to build. All right, that'll be dropping at the beginning of the month. That's going to be as simple as registering for DoorDash or Uber Eats. It's going to be that simple. It's going to be simple as boom, sign up, put in your name, your information, right? Make sure you're who you are. And then boom, choosing that trader says, you know what, Donnie, I want to learn, I want to earn while I learn. How many people would like to earn money while they're learning to trade the Forex market? Right? How many people would say, you know what, Donnie, I'm making money and I'm still learning, but I don't know how it's happening. Well, we've got something exclusive to build that's going to allow you to do that. That's going to allow you to take Donnie Pips's trades, right? How many people would like Donnie Pips to trade for them? Swing, bada, swing, right? Perfect. So we have something coming to where you can find my trades, my trades, or my AI bot that trades as well. Yep, Tony, we have a scanner that's based on my strategy that trades as well. Not just the scanner, but me taking trades. And you'll be able to, the app will take that trade for you and also have risk management tools in there. So imagine earning while you're learning. I know everybody got excited for that, right? I know, I'm excited. Oh, a little bit better than copy and paste. That's too much work. I remember we said we want to do simplicity. Okay, copying and pasting is too much work. Shut the front door. Yep. Copying and pasting is too much work. But yes, we're going to go over all that, guys. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited about today. Just a small recap. We talked about what a pip is, why we should trade the Forex market. We need little capital to enter the market. So right now, all you need is about $100, $150 to get involved in the Forex market that you're going to trade yourself. Okay? You're going to trade yourself. You're going to learn how to trade the market. That way you don't have to pay us CPAs to go out there and manage your portfolio. And I'm going to call you in another month to say, hey, I'm going to need $5,000 more. It's going to be an app, Cleve. So it's going to be a lot easier. Don't even worry about it. You ain't even going to have to do all that. Okay? It's going to be a lot more easier than that. All right. Tomorrow, we're going to talk about things like this, and we're going to just view this. So real quick, I'm going to just show you guys TradingView. We went over spreads and commissions for brokers. And when choosing your broker, okay, those are things we have to look for. Yep, tomorrow's segment is called Show Me the Money. Exactly. That app part. Exactly. Okay. Perfect. Yeah, for those who won, if you're a part of Build, just reach out to Mr. Bean so I can get your information, okay? If you're not, just send me a message at Donnie Pip on Instagram, okay? Awesome sauce, all right? So this is TradingView. TradingView is nothing more than where you go to get your information for your technical analysis, so then you can trade. Now on TradingView, you can also place trades. You can actually trade on TradingView depending on the broker you use. So TradingView does have a broker system on TradingView. And the best thing about the Forex market and trading Forex market is you can start with paper money. You can start with paper money. How many people are new here that says, you know what, that sounds like a good idea? I can start with paper money. Okay? And even when you start with paper money, oops, not Pine Editor, kind of my code, right? You can go down here to Trading Panel. and you can choose brokers on the trading panel. Now, these are brokers. Now, some of them don't allow certain pairs and things like that. So please do your due diligence and your homework on which is the right broker for you. Okay. Just so you know that the leverage is different for U.S. brokers. So those are things as well. Some U.S. brokers only allow 50-to-1 leverage, which is not that high. So when you hear an offshore broker, doesn't mean that they're not regulated, just means that they're not licensed in the United States. Okay. And the reason why people choose unlicensed U.S. brokers is for the leverage. Okay. Therefore, you're now getting that 500-to-1, that 400-to-1 leverage. You can utilize. Okay, so do your due diligence, do your homework on the broker you choose, and things like that. Okay, so like you have Tasty FX, Tasty Trade, Tasty FX are the same thing. I don't recommend Webull because they're a Chinese-owned company, but things like that. So of course you have different brokers. I do recommend Owanda, but Owanda only gives you 50-to-1 leverage. Okay, they are a US-based broker, and things like that. Okay. Perfect. All right. So as you see here, those are just different brokers. Okay. Wanted to make sure we touch base on that. Awesome sauce. Please, I've got homework for everybody. Please go to tradingview.com and make an account. I want you to break this. I want you to break this. I want you to play with this and come here tomorrow and say, Donnie Pips, I did something wrong. For a new trader, so I would recommend a few. It depends on what you want to do. I'll talk with Mr. Bean first, just to make sure that I can, tell you guys, what broker I recommend. Again, don't want to, violate any ethical laws and things like that, to make sure we're always protected. Build always comes first. Okay. Perfect. Can we set up accounts with kids? So unfortunately, I do teach kids how to trade, but they can't have their own trading account unless they're 18 years of age. But what I did for my son was I just opened up another account on the same, account, because you can have multiple trading accounts. And then I just gave him that login access to trade. Okay. Nice, guys. Give me some emojis in the chat real quick. I'm gonna open up for Q&A. Mr. Bean, if you don't mind, open up the lines real quick. I know some people had some questions. I don't want to burn anybody out, but I do want to allow some people to answer some questions real quick. Can I get some 4-5s in the chat? There it is.
Lines are definitely open, and I'm just, before everybody jumps on, I'm just saying that the simplicity is just, man, it's sadistic, it's crazy, it's killer, man. That's the simplicity. I have people, guys, who are just hitting me up, from all around the world right now, saying, man, this is crazy. You guys are about to blow up. Hey, I know Forex. This guy knows his stuff. Hey, I had guests on. My guests are loving it, and they now feel comfortable. They want to sign up. I've been getting all kind of text messages and inboxes the whole entire time you were there. The other thing is this: we've maintained well over 200 people, the whole entire time we are here. I know we had 210, 215 at its peak on the Zoom, but guys, we had 3 different Facebook communities going at the same time, where you had, again, a lot of people in those communities. So people were plugged in, and then you held their attention for almost 3 hours, bro. And then again, I'm just saying, this is an exceptional situation for you guys. So great information, and I'm going to turn it over to those of you who have questions. Let's go ahead and get some questions answered from Mr. Pips.
All right, first question. Who's got a question?
And you can go ahead and open your line up.
This is a way
In fact,
different way.
raise your hands, guys. Raise your hands, and we'll pluck you from the audience.
You'll have to pluck them, Mr. Bean, because I can't see if anybody's got their hand raised. All right.
Matter of fact, stop if you can. Stop sharing for a second,
Okay.
and you can be able to see them.
There we go.
And while we're doing that, guys, make sure that for all the guests, get back to the person who invited you guys. We'll have further instructions for them on how you can proceed and how you can get yourself positioned and enrolled in the program. And so, Donnie, if you see any hands up, you can go ahead and start asking questions or answering questions.
Perfect. All righty. Kendra, I'm calling you. All right.
Okay, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's up?
Okay, so regarding the trading sessions, like London, New York, Sydney, Tokyo, that completely lost me.
Okay, perfect. No, that's a good question. So people say they don't have time, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a session for everybody because remember, in Japan, while we're asleep over here, they're just going to work. Okay. So if
Okay.
you live in the United States and you're up at night, remember they have their own stock exchange. So the market is constantly moving. There's always money in the market to keep Forex going.
Mhm.
In London, London opens up at a different time than the United States. They have their own stock market. So there's money to be made during that time. So if you're up in the middle of the night and you're like, man, this is the only time that I can trade the market, well, you have a session that's open that provides liquidity into the market, unlike the stocks where stocks are closed because everybody's asleep.
Okay, so does one market trade better than the other? Because I noticed it was color coded.
Yes, the US London crossover trades
Okay.
more pairs, or should I say more liquidity than the other markets. Yes. As you get into your later markets, as the US starts going to sleep at night,
Mhm.
the liquidity starts getting a lot less. Okay. That meaning the market starts slowing down some. Okay.
Okay. Now I noticed there were numbers like 75 pits, 165, like
Those were just simply a rough estimate of how many pips move per session. So you may
got
be
it.
able to get 75 pips during that session.
Okay, makes
Okay.
sense.
Yep.
Thank you.
Nice. Real quick, Mr. Kendrick.
Thank you for taking this time out. I just had a quick comment. I have had introduction to Forex before, but the way you explained it, the simplicity and everything, it was just next level. So I'm very excited about embarking on this journey with everybody. So just a comment.
Awesome sauce. Love it, brother. Thank you. And I can't wait to see your progression. Real quick, Mr. Bernard.
Hey Donnie, great presentation. Quick question. Since I do trade, and when I talk to people about trading, one of the general consensuses that I hear is that trading is risky. So how would you answer anybody who has that thought
Nice.
process on
So his
trading?
question was, when he talks to people about trading, trading is risky, right? Anything is risky. When people say, well, Donnie, you know what? There's a lot of risk involved in trading. Yes, there is without the right community. And I just simply say, well, I have an educational platform that teaches you how to extract markets from or profits from the market daily. And when people hear that word educational platform, it kind of mitigates that risky part, right? Because they associate learning to mitigation of risk. Learning just means mitigation of risk. And they like that. Okay. I'm going to take two more questions, Mr. James, and then Miss Latoya.
Hey, Donnie, can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
Hey, just a quick question. So I purchase my employer's stock every other week. Can I use that? I guess I'm a purchaser, not a trader, but
Yep.
I'm gonna be a trader. Can I use that portfolio, if you will, or those stocks to learn your system?
Yes. So he's asking a question about my trading system, in which Mr. Bean loves. My E3 strategy is used on all markets. So the strategy that I'm going to teach you here at Build can be used to purchase stocks, trade options, trade futures. Okay. So yes. Okay. That answers your question? I'm not a big fan of strategies that are only good for one thing. How many people hate that, right? You've got one strategy and it works for just this, and then you got to go learn this for that. I am not that person. Okay. I was a United States Marine, right? But the one thing that makes the Marine Corps good is our ability and our strategy to learn something one time and utilize it everywhere. That's why I like Build. The concept of Build is simple. So this concept of my strategy is simple. You can use it for everything. And that's what is needed in the market. Miss Latoya.
Before Latoya ask her question real quick, guys, one thing I do appreciate again about his E3 strategy is that it is very versatile, and then it fits succinctly with the vision of Mr. Navarro. You know, like he gave you guys a little carrot. He dangled something in front of you guys and let you guys know about an app that's coming that we can't really talk about right now. But I'm glad he did that because he just helped me out. But Mr. Navarro has it set up, guys, to where when we do make that big announcement, we do introduce you guys to an app where all you have to do is push the darn button, right? It's not going to be a one strategy app. It's going to be a strategy, where you'll be allowed to pick, 3 or 5, strategies from an array of strategies. So you won't just have all your money in one market at one time, right? You'll have it working and you'll be able to leverage percentages, different percentages per strategy, but you'll have 3 to 5, and it'll be your choice. So I'll turn it back over to you, Donnie.
Nice. All right. And then Ra.
Latoya was next.
Latoya and then Ra. Ra, I'll finish it out with Ra's question.
First and foremost, I appreciate the simplicity. I absolutely enjoyed it, and you kept my attention the entire time. It never got boring, so I appreciate that. But as far as your content, will it be structured this way throughout? So will you have the recordings available so that if we are not able to be live, you're going to make sure we
Yes.
don't miss content?
Yeah, so the actual training the training courses are structured for beginner, intermediate, then advanced. Okay. So
Okay.
it's very structured. Okay. So you have nothing to worry about that. Okay. And then also my live calls, coffee and charts. We're going to be trading live. Okay. That's going to be live trading. Okay. And then I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I want to speak out of turn. I believe they are allowing me to teach twice a week.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Yep.
So I'll be teaching as well twice a week, which will be recorded. That way you can't get on. So one of the days will be kind of a beginner basic, right? To going over the beginners and things like that. We're going to have videos on how to set up your brokerage account, how to set up your trading account. I know John had asked about that, how to set up your trading account. And it's going to go through the numbers. So somebody who's 75 years old, right, can learn to trade the financial market. So no matter what age you are, my system moves like a sloth. And then Donnie Pips moves as a sloth. Even though I speak fast, when it comes to showing you with practical application, I go as slow as you need to go. Okay. Until you get that aha moment in the market, I want you to keep watching that video. Keep watching that video. And then once that aha moment clicks, then you move on to the next part. Okay. Because remember, consistency builds confidence.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And then last question, Ra, I've seen your messages a bunch of times. You want to come on and say anything here? Not sure if he's there. RAJ, not sure if he's there.
I do have a question that was in the chat group. Let me address that, or let me have you address that question. One of the questions was, do you recommend trading with lower leverage for new traders?
Yes, and I'm going to be going over all that. Yes, so when it comes to the leverage, doesn't matter really what leverage you place. So it's not about the leverage, it's about the confidence. Okay, so you can still choose 500, 500 to 1 leverage, but it's about the confidence, and that's going to be based on the lot size and not the leverage. Okay, so you're going to be at 0.05, right? So 50 cents. Okay, just use an example, 50 cents. And then as your confidence grows, your lot size is going to grow, and then you're at $1 per pip. So remember, the amount that you can gain is also the amount that you can lose. Okay. So when your confidence is high and you understand what you're looking at in the market, it's going to be very, very simple.
Good deal. Thank you. And those that have messaged me privately, please check your messages. I did respond back. And then also I wanted to see if you could address, there was John. He said a lot of this information was confused and he's lost. So if you could just share with him that, give him a warm and fuzzy.
Right. So John, a lot of this was just the basic information of the market. But for somebody like you that needs one-on-one, we do offer that says, okay, we're going to break this down. All right. There's an actual section in the trading that just goes over pips, because that's where a lot of people get lost, is learning how to make money on a penny. right? A lot of people are traditional investors who just don't understand the concept of making money off of a penny. So in trading, we're going to be going over that, and we break that down in our educational platform. Okay, so you'll be able to break it down really easy, step by step instruction. I'm not sure if Miss Pat's on here to kind of give her name. Miss Pamplin is in here, and she'll be able to tell you as well. It was confusing for her at first. Miss Pat, you can open up your mic.
Yes, Donnie, I certainly am here. Let me just say that my background very quickly, I'm a CPA by profession. I decided that I was going to try this because I thought I'm an accountant. I can, this stuff all makes sense. I can tell you that this was so foreign and so new to me at the outset that I realized that no matter what college training I had, this was a new something that was completely, it was foreign, but completely learnable. I was able to learn this. And all I can say is, in retrospect, if I knew then, 20 years ago, what I know now, having been able to be taught by Donnie Pips, I can tell you that I would have saved myself 20 years of corporate grief. That's all I can say.
Mm.
Awesome, awesome.
Hey, Donnie, real quick, I just got the young lady who I told you who traded in one of your, she's right there. There you go, job well done. This will be life changing. She just texted me this, and I asked her to put it in the chat, and she did, but I'll read it out to you guys. This is the young lady who took the $200, learned how to trade through you, and bought a car, right? She says, job well done. This will be life changing for the entire team. In my history of trading, I'm not sure anyone has made the explanation of trading pips, trading sessions, or pairs this granular. Excellent. And that's for
That's got to
Katrina
be Miss
Whitfield.
Whitfield. It's got to be
Yep.
Miss Whitfield. I
Yep,
remember
it
her
is.
story like yesterday. Miss
Yep.
Whitfield, right?
Yep, that's her.
See, guys, I remember all my students and everybody, guys, and I love it. So I'll get to know each and every one of you guys. Thank you guys so much today. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow. We're actually going to take some live trades, so you're going to see what it looks like live. And then, Mr. Bean, I'm going to turn over to you to close us out. Now, again, guys, I'm Donnie Pips, and we're just getting started.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, guys, I appreciate you guys coming on, trusting us with your Saturday. Again, you could have been anywhere but here with us, and you stayed for 3 hours. And it just lets us know that you guys are on par with what our vision is for the company. You let us know that we hit it out of the park, and you can expect to hear from Mr. Navarro tomorrow. Mr. Pacheco. They are both online. They're both excited. They're looking at the numbers, looking at the chats and the comments and everything else. And guys, we will make it one of the biggest, and fastest growing companies in this industry, and one of the safest places to make and take a trade. We're going to make sure that when you push that darn button, you know exactly what you're doing. So make sure you make it back tomorrow morning at 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. He's going to go right back into it, and he's going to show you guys the money. And after that, guys, once you guys make that decision to come on board, for those of you who do come on board, we're going to show you guys again how to go out there and take a story, your own personal story of making a couple of $100, popping those pips. And show you how to turn that into a $25,000 a month, $50,000 a month trading community. So again, make sure you guys are back here, same line, same time, and invite more people. Just because they missed day one, don't mean that they won't get an opportunity to become number one. All right. So we'll see you guys back tomorrow. Thank you, Donnie. Great job. And guys, go out here and invite. Pack these lines out again tomorrow. We should have 300 guests tomorrow. Take care. Bye bye.